Boing.
The
Because we're
wild
running
card
late, we're
as
skipping the
usual.
intro, everyone.
Oh my god.
Guess what? We've been here the whole time. We thought we were live. We started the show. We did half the presentation.
Totally.
We sat here for 20 minutes looking at the intro video, and then we're like, oh, we have a show.
Not even live. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually,
that's
it was my computer. The CIA was spying on me. I was telling Jake and Phil this. The light was on for my camera, and it says StreamYard can't access your camera. I'm like, that's because it's on. I know it's like someone has accessed it, and but I didn't have any apps running that would use it, and I couldn't turn off anything to make the camera turn off, so I like couldn't turn it off. So somebody was watching me, and it wouldn't let me use StreamYard, and then I restarted my computer, and that fixed it. So.
Well, I don't think we should be investigating into which one of us was spying on you.
I mean,
who else external to this social group was spying? Because it wouldn't be any of us. Not me. None of us can hack that well.
It's fine.
Yeah.
None of us are.
And I was streaming
types.
I was streaming with Brian Kreisgau earlier, and my internet crapped out. So
I've watched that. I was wondering, like, I'm like, why is this only 45 minutes long? Because I caught it after it was over already, and so I started watching it, and then you just freeze and then vanish. And then Brian's there. I didn't watch Brian solo streaming for 20 minutes straight before he left.
But... that's good that
he kept going on your channel. That's
yeah.
So funny.
And then he just left.
Yeah.
I didn't even have that backup. I streamed this morning for you guys, and the same thing happened. Just cut out. Couldn't do anything. I had to go in on my phone. It's like black screen. You'd think at least it would keep the background video going, but no, it was just black.
I'm surprised. I guess that the host isn't. I thought they would cut the whole stream if the host isn't there for like 10 minutes, but I guess not. But also, I thought they keep your screen share up, but no, your screen was just black, Jake. Very entertaining.
Yeah, mine it closed on its own at some point, but that might have been when Brian left. Because I didn't have to go in there and like turn it off. It wasn't.
Oh, I guess
Yeah, I'm surprised.
If nobody's there, then it would just shut down. That makes sense.
I mean, I don't
it didn't
know
used to do that though. It used to run forever until you hit stop. Yeah. Yep. Well, we haven't talked since Vatican City 2 came out. You guys?
Yeah, it's out. Did everybody that's Pear's friends get a copy and read it like they were supposed to? Look at this.
Oh yeah, nice.
Everybody who's Pear's friend who also had access to buying it definitely did buy it and read it. But
I should be able to pick it up soon because there is an American comic shop it's an hour away from me right now, guys.
You've got to tentatively tiptoe around talking about it, I guess, unless you just...
I mean, I totally read it.
Yeah, who in the chat read it? Put ones in the chat if you've read it already.
Now, Pear, can you
is
get
that the first
digitally,
page?
Like...
Is that the... I mean, I would know, I guess. I definitely did. I'm the friend who read it.
I've seen that page because people have been saying how cool it is. I'm like, I don't know the context, but it looks cool.
It's like a
if
flashback
it's available
page.
digitally, I'd read it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like lore. Okay. That's a lot of the comments people say. Issue 2 has a little sequence about lore, the lore of like the vampires, and people really were digging that.
Yeah, I really like when that one guy got shot in the head too.
Yeah. Well, that's borderline spoilers, but if you say one guy, it's maybe not the worst spoiler. So, but that is my favorite part about it too, because I didn't see that coming at all. It counts
and it's the page turn as well, so it's good.
Yeah,
it's very Mark Miller style. In your face, it's dope.
I'm looking forward to reading it. The front cover looks like the what is it called? Hyperborea is under the Vatican. It's like you fall into the cave world underneath Elden Ring, but it's under the Vatican.
Yeah, it's interesting. Pear, talk about the idea behind this cover. Was this a you idea? Yeah, how did the covers kind of work out? Was that Mark being like,
we did those first? They were the very first thing that we did, and then part of me wishes we would have saved them for the end, because I got better as we went, you know. So
okay. Yeah.
I feel like if I could do some covers now, I could do slightly better job. But I still like these covers. But I pitched him ideas, and that's a rare time where I do pitch him stuff, and then he approves it. Because usually he's just like, I only work with the best, so just do what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since Vatican City's come out is I've reached out to a couple different writer or artists to kind of like make friends. I'm like gonna make some friends in the mainstream or whatever. And no one has messaged me back. So I'm like I'm kind of pissed.
Aw, boo.
Remember
Time period.
there's a chance they're busy. This
Or they're just dang elitists. Elitists.
Yeah, I think it's like elitists or it's Comicsgate baggage, which would be a very unfortunate, or elitists. Both those piss me off a little bit.
Or all.
or busy.
Yeah, give it
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't start fostering grudges. That's it. They did not reply to me. They're on the
Let's
shit
go to
list
the
forever.
worst possible conclusion.
Yeah.
When you when this goes into like trade, do you think they'll use a cover you've already done, or will you get to do like a new trade cover now that
They're planning to make the issue 3 cover also the trade cover.
Oh, really? You know
And-
that?
and-
All right, cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of the best cover. It's the most regular too. It's
Oh,
just
that's like the montage one where it has Guido, some other guys, and then the Vatican behind them.
Yeah.
That was like the first promo shot I think we saw for the series.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. You're still sick. Did we go cover that?
Oh yeah. Vampire.
Yeah, Pierre's he's getting over the sickness.
But so I was thinking too, like it's my own bad mindset to be like, I want friends in the mainstream because I have plenty of friends like you guys. But like even from this, there have been a couple of artists that have reached out, been like, I really like your art in this. I'm like, okay, you're my friend.
Cool.
I like that Pierre just claims. It's like, yeah, you're my friend. Like you just claim.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
I am
compliment
deigned. You are my friend. I don't know, man. Friends are overrated. Maybe it's time we got replaced anyway.
I'm glad
By
you haven't
AI?
replaced us
Yeah.
yet with better mainstream friends. So thank
Yeah.
you.
See? Yeah. If I could, but none of them get back to me. So yeah. I'm stuck
Yeah.
here.
You're stuck with us now.
You're
They're all on
good
Blue
to it.
Sky. That's the thing. They don't have X anymore.
Does
Yeah.
anything even happen? Here's the thing with the exodus from Twitter and people going to Blue Sky. You have to go where the audience is, not where you want to be. So, is there even normal people over there giving them attention on their stuff, or are they just posting into the void? I have never looked at a blue. The only Blue Skies I've
never
ever
either.
seen when people post screenshots of Blue Skies on Twitter.
Exactly.
The impression I get is it's like Circle Jerk Central, but that kind of still works for the industry for what they want. Like they'll have editors and artists, but it's more the woke people or whatever. But they'll post they're looking for an artist, and then they can
We can
still
post whatever we want, and we don't get called out. This place is perfect.
Yeah.
You still lose a huge portion of the audience, though, and it's like even normal people that aren't political aren't there. So it's just a dumb idea to go off of the biggest platform.
Yeah, X is where it's at. You know,
Yeah, that's where the audience is at.
the only friend you need is Grock. All right. Sometimes he's wrong.
Honestly, Grock has
Okay.
been so helpful. I
Grock
am
is definitely-
buying in to the AI.
No, they're wrong.
Grock is
sometimes.
still
He's
unhelpful,
wrong.
but
Is Grock
Grock
my
has
new
done
friend?
So much.
Yeah, Grock.
Bill,
is
Recently,
Grock
I'm
is
not
full of
wrong.
shit sometimes. I've been sending Grock photographs of nutritional labels for foods and drinks to see if they're gout triggering,
Uh-huh.
and he started lying to me. He started saying the label clearly says that it's a zero sugar variant, and I look
Yeah.
at the actual label. It's like, no, this says 30 grams of sugar.
And
What
it,
the
yeah,
fuck
it
you
has
on
that
about?
nowhere on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't say zero. How dare you? But yeah, Grock also was like giving me a medical advice on my AIDS finger. Pat, you were not here for AIDS finger
Oh
week.
my god.
I like
Like it's-
talk of AIDS, so please
Yeah.
do.
I'll be
Fill me
So
in.
Imagine that, but 50 times more gross.
Oh yeah. No, there's nothing here. It's normal finger again.
Yeah, it
Basically,
doesn't
this
really
was
look that AIDS to me.
yeah, it was all boiled up. It had several pustules. It was disgusting. It was swollen. It was glowing red. And I was like, it'll figure itself out. And then after the show, Bancroft's like, "You might have the feline AIDS," uh, and I'm like, went straight to the doctor afterwards. Didn't even waste any time. And then they gave me medicine and creams, and now I don't have AIDS finger. It was just a humble rash. I didn't even get AIDS.
That's
I
a
didn't
good
know
testament
normal
to
rash could look like
medication.
all boils and gross and stuff.
But over here, when they give you medicine, they actually packet it out already into like pre-packaged assemblages. Pustules and gout and plague. Oh my, no, it was just a sweat rash.
So you don't really know what caused it? Like, did you stick it where the sun don't shine a little too long, or what?
Yeah, I kept on shoving my finger up my ass too much, but no, they said what it was. Hold on. We didn't say it. So the doctor had like this fact file of different diseases that it could be, and he just kept flicking through them, and he's like pointing to it, like this one. I'm like, okay, I guess this is what it is. It'll be in my screenshots.
Yeah, how do you say it in Japanese?
Chimera says maybe it's a spider bite. That looks like it could have been.
Well, the day that I even got that, the story was that I felt like I had some weird thing that entered my throat in the night because I woke up like coughing and sputtering. The same thing happened this morning.
What?
5 in the morning. It was the weird, like, did I swallow a bug?
That's a lot of people's nightmare. It happened to you twice.
Yeah. Maybe I'm cursed over here. Maybe the evil spirits. Gout and AIDS together. Yes.
Maybe you have that. What's that thing where you stop breathing in your sleep?
I probably do have some sleep apnea, yes, but
yeah. You got to get that hose they put down your throat while you sleep now.
You have to put a whole. So, in order to avoid the shock of maybe things going down my throat in the middle of the night, I have to purposefully shove a thick tube.
No, I think it's just some mask, some dumb mask you have to wear when you sleep, and it stops you from dying or something.
Oh, the Bane
Yeah, I have a
mask.
friend that has that. It's pretty hilarious.
Luckily, no spider bite. Although the jury's out on whether or not I've swallowed 2 spiders now.
Oh God.
I'm working on a creative block disease video that I'll play next week on the show.
Oh, that'll be the subject of discussion?
Yeah. No, it's just going to be like a little small video at the start.
Okay, cool. Well, we have all been
of all the ailment clips.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
What do we normally do for these shows?
Well, we talk about our week, and I guess Jake has launched into my God, Pear. Okay, Phil, how was your week?
I mean, I didn't. That wasn't my week, but
it
could be.
Wait, that was your week time though, so you're done. Beep, beep, beep. All right, Phil, how was your week?
Oh my goodness! All right, my week was awesome. The last weekend. Let's see. Friday we closed the auction for our special signed Doug Mankey book that went out. So, and I shipped that out. So thank you guys for bidding on that. So we got that out. Everything fulfillment is done since you've been gone, Pear. I finished fulfilling everything. People are getting books overseas. Skunk Artworks, awesome German artist. He got his book today. So that was quicker than ever for international books. And then this past weekend, I spent the whole weekend writing, which was freaking sweet. And I finished a script, which I was super excited about. So it's the third issue, technically chapter 3 of the Western series we're going to be doing. So Oliver is working on chapter 2 right now. He's on page 8, and I am done writing the next chapter of that. So on a roll with that. Super cool. And then R.I.P. Peter David passed, and I didn't even realize it, but he wrote the script for the Marvel Dark Tower comics. So he scripted all of, I think most all of them. So I have them. My girlfriend had one, and then I had this one. I read hers first, which is book 2, which is cool because book 2 is actually new material that wasn't from the novels. And so now I'm going back and reading book 1, which is material from the novels. And when I met Jay Lee a few years ago, I had him do a badass head sketch. Inside.
Oh, sweet.
But yeah, this is super awesome. Like Jay Lee.
Is that Jay Lee Interiors too?
Yes. Yeah. He did an interiors for the main stories in the series. A lot, actually. It's a lot of pages. So really, really enjoying reading this and getting back into the lore of that. But yeah, I didn't realize that they actually expanded on the novels, like filled in some scenes in between stuff that you never got from the original books. So I was just reading that, and yeah, I guess that's been my week. And then I'm gonna start writing some other stuff after probably this weekend. I'm gonna start writing the next issue of Magic Cop. So yeah, been doing a lot.
Cool.
I mean, the next.
Well, no, I'm writing them in chapters. So I wrote issue 1 or chapter 1 of Magic Cop 3. It's all plotted out, but that script's with my brother. He's drawing it. And then now I'm going to write and script out issue 2 of it. And then after that, I'll probably bounce either back to the Western or to the Lost Pages. So
nice. Jake, you can have one more minute if you want. Sorry, I cut you off. Just 1 minute, though.
The court is being 1 more minute, and you can only spend it making jokes about. Yeah, my week was, listen, I do not have an addiction. Okay, it is an interest. This is not pure gambling. This is just like slight. Is it gambling? You get something out of it. But look, this is the very organized box full of Pokemon Mesostars tokens.
when you spend enough on the machine, they give you those boxes to hold them?
No, you have to go and buy these.
That would be great if they did.
These are full of the good ones that are all foil in the little
Oh,
stupid...
it's like a whole Pokemon ball box. That's cute.
I got 2 of those. This is the useful ones. Look at all those blacks. I got a tower of blacks now. I'm making my collection of black dog tags. I even got the freaking wristband to make it go Mega Form and Super Big Dynamax. But yeah, if I go again, and I'm trying to do it as little as possible, I haven't been for days. I haven't been near one of those arcade machines for days. But this is the action box to take that and fight with. This is a box full of extra ones that are normal. This is like a full set of the commons, and then these are extras. And then I have the redundancy sack.
Wow. So you really did spend all your money.
Yeah. So anyone who's been bidding on the Nippon Special number 69, I'm very grateful for you paying for all of this Pokemon shit. Wow.
Angela says you're pushing the Pokemon button too much. You got the pustule fingy.
Oh my god.
I did. I kind of wondered for a second if I got the AIDS from playing a Pokemon game.
That's what I thought too.
I know. Nope. Turns out just a sweat rash. So it's all good. But yeah, other than that, just tons of coloring. It was even fun doing a coloring stream this morning.
I saw that.
Guys' time. It was fun. And halfway through, like, look, no, towards the end, whilst the stream was dead, Phil comes in. He's like, "Did you see this tweet from Global Comics?"
Yeah, it was dope.
It's like, oh my god, what is happening? A very new fiendish news.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah. It's very exciting.
Yeah, Jake announced it before I knew about it. So exciting. Thanks for that announcement. I gotta pull it up now. I was gonna share something else. I guess in the meantime, speaking of are you done, Jake?
I'm done. I think that was I mean, I got my sound desk working again. That's it. I got buttons. So yeah, it can get really annoying. That's my week. You heard that, right?
Pull up that tweet then.
Sure. Where the hell is it? I have something else pulled up if you want to share it.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Believe
Ooh.
it or not, these are pencils. I'm not done yet. I need to print them out.
What does
and then
that mean?
Here we go with the
What?
pencil shit
That's not
again.
pencils. There's white and on,
Yeah,
that's not pencil.
it's done.
pencils.
It's done.
You can't have pencils that have lettering and logos on it.
Okay,
Somebody
so
tackle her now. It's done.
Yeah,
no, you don't understand. If you look at the lines, they're not completely clean and perfect, and there are pixels out of place. So that means I need to redraw the whole thing again.
Zoom in and show how terrible it is. Then prove
It
it.
is so terrible.
Oh,
and
I'm gonna vomit.
look at that.
Oh, what a terrible job! Oh no.
It's rough.
That's good.
This is rough work. I'm not done yet. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna draw it traditionally anyway, so I have a traditional piece, and I'm gonna do like some of the shading digitally. But here you go. Of course, I did a mock-up with the logo to make sure it fits, especially with these black and white covers. So this is the black and white 24-hour cover for Fiendish 3.
Yeah.
As I'm gonna keep with tradition, just like I've been doing with other Fiendish campaigns. This white on black diamond cover is going to be limited to the first 24 hours ish of the campaign. So here it is, and really down to the wire. I need to get stuff done, but I'm also very busy with other obligations. So I don't know when I'm going to get everything done, but I'm trying to get everything prepared for the launch. And this cover.
The June release block is approaching.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing is, everyone and their mom are going to be releasing in June, so I'm aiming for late June. I was hoping to have it ready by Heroes Con, but it's like I'd rather not rush it because I want to have this cover.
Well,
and
it's
like
done, so you're obviously going to have it done by Heroes Con. So.
It's not done. Okay. Maybe I might have a problem. I might be slightly draughtistic, but yeah, I have 3 more pages to do, and then a trailer, and I did get some colored pages in, so maybe I'll show those off later. But yeah, things are moving ahead on Fiendish 3. And I'm looking forward to launching the next book soon-ish. There's a lot to do.
You should launch it the exact same day that the vertical Fiendish Global Comics thing releases. You should destroy your health getting ready for that deadline.
Yes, I should just not sleep and make just to match it up with that. Speaking of, now I need to unshare and share another screen. If I can find that.
Hey,
Yeah, they
Banker
did, like,
said
a
he was
whole
also sick.
Article and stuff. It's awesome. I'm excited about
Yeah, I should pull up the article. There we go. Can I share that tab? Post my messages.
Yeah, I was like, what the what? I saw
That was
this.
pretty cool. So
That's
I mean, of course I gave them the files for this GC Tunes thing forever ago, and I didn't know I had no idea when it was coming out. It's just been months, and I was kind of like, they'll tell me when it's released, and then all of a sudden it was quite the surprise. But here, let me actually share it. Here you go. Dun dun dun. Behold.
Look at that Fiendish logo right next to the darkness.
Isn't that cool?
Mark Silvestri's Darkness.
Hey.
Yeah, top cow image.
I know.
And Aphrodite X. I mean, Dave Finch worked on Aphrodite X. Awesome.
So they converted it to a web comic and are going to kind of push it a little bit. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. So what they're doing is it's a vertical scroll version, and I just gave them the files with the speech bubble separated and everything, and they do the formatting and all that. So it's not just like pages stacked on top of each other. I think they have some GC Tunes out, and it's optimized. It's completely reformatted and optimized for. It's like Webtoons but better, because I think just Global Comics is digital readers are more high resolution. I think it looks better. I'm very happy with what I've seen. I haven't even seen the Fiendish Tunes, GC Tunes, but I've seen other series in Tunes, and it's great. So
Yeah,
it's,
they convert a lot of like existing mainstream stuff to verticals
yeah,
in the same way, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw them do that with Godslap, the
Oh
book
yeah.
that Moist Critical puts out. Ricardo Jamie did the art, and yeah, they converted it. It was one of their early ones to a vertical scroll, all done by Global. And I think they're published by Bad Egg.
Mm.
Mm.
Huh.
Yeah, I read the Witcher comics that they converted to vertical.
Oh, cool.
Oh, look, it's right on their front page.
Now then, is it
Oh.
free? So it's like extra readership, or is it still behind a paywall?
I think if you, I don't quote me because I'm not sure, but when either way you have to become a member, and I think I have no idea. I'm not gonna say it because I have no idea. I know that for example, Fiendish, I have sections of it that are free, and then other sections that are behind a paywall, and you just register as a member, and it's like for what is it, $7 a month? You can read everything on the website. You don't
Right.
pay per read, so it's pretty good because I have a huge catalog. I don't know if GC Tunes works the same way, but it is supposed to be targeting a new audience sector. That's the point of doing vertical scroll comics, is for people who prefer reading on the phone, which is really big in Asia. That's why webtoons is a thing. So I'm glad to see somebody in the States. There you go. Yeah, see, it's not just pages stacked on top of each other. It's
Yeah, it's
panel by panel, and it's optimized to
Right.
look good on a phone.
yeah. Any of the verticals that I've read of theirs are completely free, and it is like new readershipy.
Yeah.
This is them
That would be
converting it.
almost preferred, I think, if they're going to go to the trouble to do this free, which is awesome. Feels like kind of
Uh-huh.
a
Yeah.
big deal. And then
Yeah.
yeah, you'll get a big boost. Cuz that's fun, cuz that throws your hat in the ring. You know, you hear all these stories about webtoons, you know, just
Taking
getting
off.
millions and millions of readers, and then they do their crowdfund to compile it and it makes like 50 billion, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, and the cool thing too, this is going to grab a new audience that has never read Fiendish before. Those people will hopefully then follow Hellion Arts on Global Comics, and then anytime Irene puts up something new on there, they get notified. Like the other day, I got notified that she put the Spanish version of Fiendish up. Right?
Oh yeah, I've been
Is
doing
that what
that
that
too.
was? So I got notified on that, and then once you launch the next Fiendish crowdfunder, people will see that through Global Comics as well. Hopefully, that also notifies them. I haven't seen that yet, but because you can connect the crowdfunding platform and campaign to your Global Comics account.
yeah.
Yeah.
The vertical scroll format feels like it's different enough as well, where it doesn't really take away from the physical books.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
for sure, totally different.
That's the thing with digitizing comics. I don't think it takes away from physical books. So people who like physical books, I find that, I think, and I'm the same way. So I understand that. I assume other readers are the same way. You're very particular about the format you read in, and I like physical books, but I understand some people like reading on their phones or prefer reading like a PDF version. It's just good to have a different format of the comic for as many people as possible. Just like translating. So yeah, that's why I've been doing all the different language versions, which are also up on Global Comics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool. Yeah, this was awesome to see. And they did like a whole little announcement article talking about it, saying which books are going to roll out when. I think
Yeah,
yours was June 23rd, right?
yeah. So it's when Heroes Con is like the 20th.
No,
So
that's
I think
the
it's the
weekend.
last day of Heroes,
It's
or it's
that
the day
weekend,
after
yeah.
Heroes. Yeah, so it's kind of great.
That's
So I
awesome.
think I'm about to design my flyers for Heroes. So because I'm going to have flyers, and I'm going to be just giving them away to advertise the book on the show floor. Maybe I can talk about the verticals too. So yeah, that's kind of great. It's really good timing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
very
excited for
excited
Heroes. That's
about
gonna be
this.
awesome. Yeah,
Oh yeah, and also, oh, go ahead.
and the next Vatican City will be out when we're at Heroes. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah, that one comes out like the 18th or the 20th or something like that.
Ooh, awesome.
Man,
Here's the
stuff's
first
happening.
slide of the presentation. I do have slides tonight. Woohoo!
Hooray!
Woo!
Slideshow.
Amazing.
And then
Go.
I want to show you guys this. This is like a little mini thing to share, but I did this tweet. It says, "Do you think of me primarily as an artist or a writer? Artist, writer, or both?" Artist is 29%, writer 11.8%, both 59. Kind of makes sense that might be the highest. But kind of the reason I posted it too is I'm just curious because I don't want to get pigeonholed as an artist. I feel like I broke into the mainstream now as an artist, and I feel that force where people are like, "You're an artist. You're an artist." I'm like, I've been a writer this whole time. So
Right. No
I
one
want
even knew
people
it.
and if I could choose between like, I think writers are the ones who become millionaires and then they make the artists millionaires by letting them work with them, you know? So like, sorry, it's better to be a writer if you ever could choose, you know? At least at this
Trying.
point, in the whatever.
See, I didn't vote on this because
ecosystem.
there wasn't a friend option, you know?
Yeah.
There
'Cause I
wasn't a
primarily-
friend who I'm the only one who bought his new release book option. Better than
Yeah.
the other friend's option.
Dang it. I should have put friend. The thing is, if I put friend, that's funny. It'd make everyone laugh, but it might get so many votes and everything
Yeah.
else. It'd break the
Mm.
thing.
Or you only get like 2 and then you feel depressed for a week.
Yeah.
But look, you got on that, by the way, on that, you got the 60-30-10 rule going on for the different options.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. Wow.
Yeah. Shout out to anyone who voted writer, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, those are my people.
You're a real friend.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And so yeah, maybe we'll jump into this. We'll do a presentation on friendship next week. But
All right.
Hooray! Oh,
like that
no, it's
one.
gonna be.
do you see? There's a new movie called Friendship, and it's from the guy Tim. What's his face? Who does I Think You Should Leave? You guys know what I'm talking about?
I love Tim. What's his face?
No, I don't know.
He's my favorite
Tim,
of the Boston. What's his faces?
Tim
Yeah.
Heidecker. Is it Tim Heidecker?
No, it's like Tim Armstrong, maybe. I forget.
Those are very different names.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's funny. And they show a clip from the movie, and the guy's like, "God, I wish I had like a better office at work." And he's like, "Just ask, man. I asked at my work. I asked for a better office. They gave it to me right away, dude. I eat privately. I can eat whatever I want. I can eat real stinky stuff too, like microwave it. It could be super stinky. All you gotta do is ask."
I feel like I've
I like-
seen that. I've heard that.
I like the term "I eat privately."
Yeah. Like multiple things about it were funny, but it's funny. He ends it. He goes, "All you gotta do is ask."
I might have seen the trailer for that a while ago.
Yeah, it's about friendship.
Yeah.
Friendship.
Nice.
Actually, super quick. You don't have to stay on it at all. I shared a thing before we dive into it. I can just quickly mention this.
Where are you? There you go. Hup.
There you go. Okay.
Oh.
It is 36 minutes until Nippon Special number 69 is closed forever, and somebody wins it and it goes away. So yes, that's all.
Look at 26 bids.
Nice.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's been there's been a couple of people trying to out nudge each other
Yeah.
during the week. So yeah, it's up to 160. I'm very grateful for everyone who's bid, and good luck to anyone who wants to steal it from the other two. There's like 3 bidders tussling it out.
That's
So
awesome. That's really
Who
that's
knows?
one book and a print set. Like, look at that. You balling.
Yeah, that's awesome.
mhm.
Wait, you could
Um,
see who's bidding as a.
If you
The
own
owner of
it,
it?
yeah. Well,
I didn't know that.
so on eBay, someone can look by clicking on the bids, and I'm like logged out. So if I just click on the bids, it's asking me to log in, but it will show you a list if you've bid on it, and it will like put asterisks where people's names are, so you can see the battle.
Oh,
But
I didn't
yeah,
know
if you own it, you can see all the bids.
That's
you know
cool.
that, Phil. You Doug Mankey book.
that. My brother, it's his account, but I didn't bother to look. But yeah, it was someone I did not recognize their name that won that we sent it to. But yeah,
That's great. That's good. Mysterious and mysterious from the shadows.
The benefactor.
But yeah, I guess we can maybe bring this back up in half an hour and see what happens. It might go nowhere further. It might just stay at 160. You never know.
Alex BRB, are you saying I'm so tired, like in the context of you're tired of warfare and you're ready to escalate to complete death?
Yeah, I feel like this is a misdirect because Alex VRB will say he's tired and then go all in, and
Yeah, like his finger is hovering over the nuke button, and he's
yeah,
he's
Alex,
like, I'm so
also-
tired.
Also, I didn't want to make Jake angry, but I'm just gonna say you don't have to do a meme this week. You know, if you don't want to.
Bill was listening to my stream this morning.
Jake, all right. Jake already gave some good quotes though. Jake said like you could have a stack of blacks, a tower of
Yeah,
blacks.
I love collecting the blacks.
Yeah.
The best ones.
But now
They're
I've
very
said it.
strong. They're more
Unfortunately.
powerful.
Okay, so one reason this has been there's been a couple things in the public discourse just on Twitter through like Scott Snyder, I follow him, and then Mark Miller and Rob Liefeld. I think those three, you could say they control a lot of what you would think about or what they're talking about and stuff. Yeah, because Liefeld and Miller, the thing they were talking about was like artist, writers, like if you're a writer and the artist versus if there's a writer combined with the artist.
Right.
And that's when like you guys might have, I don't know if anyone felt attacked. I almost did. But if you think about it, it's funny though, there's one little thing I was like, all right, I think my favorite like run, because Mark Miller's like, all my favorite runs, it's a writer teamed up with a great artist. He's like, and I'm like, that is kind of true. Like if you're talking about a long run on something that's super awesome quality, it's always that. It's hard to, and then if you think of like, one guy doing both, it's like a graphic novel and it might be great for sure. But then like even, what were you gonna say, Rini?
Oh no, I'm just saying that made sense. Yeah, sorry to interject, but it's really hard to be to focus on both because it's very different. They're very different skills, and to be good at both, but also focus on both art and story for the duration of a long project. I think it's possible. I see it. The thing is, I see it often in manga, but the thing is, in manga, I think writer artists combined into one will work with plotters and editors, take a much more active role. They're just not formally credited as writers. So
and even on the art, they have assistants too. So they have like a whole team. Yeah, and like you think of like, well, Frank Miller, he's the GOAT, and he wrote and drew, and you're like, yeah. But actually, with him, it's funny because his Daredevil run is like my favorite thing of comics ever, almost, and it's the best thing he's written, arguably. And he didn't draw that one; he paired with a great artist, you know. So,
right? Yeah.
So
I mean, a lot of Frank Miller stuff he did both, but a lot of very popular, successful stories that Frank did is he was just the writer, you know. That man Year One, right? He was just the writer. Some of the Daredevil stuff.
Because it was, you know what Liefeld said. Liefeld said like, if you're an all-star artist, you need to start writing and controlling the character, or else you're like missing your chance. And it kind of sounds good, but you're like, yeah, like that worked so good last time we did that. You know, anytime you give like great writers, just let them fucking write what they want or whatever. It hasn't worked. So
I think it's harder to be great at both. You know?
Yeah, it is. It's like being completely multidisciplinary and excellent at being at multiple things at once. People are built to specialize, and it's contrary to popular opinion. Writing is hard, and it takes effort and a lot of work to actually be a good writer. So it's just as consuming as art.
Right. I mean, look at Jim Lee's probably one of the most highest paid comic book creators ever, right? And some of his biggest stuff has been teaming up with writers, and the stuff that he did kind of on his own, like the Wildstorm stuff, Wildcats. I mean, that never really seeped into the public zeitgeist. But there's a movie made from Hush, Batman Hush, which he did with Jeff Loeb, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would definitely support that thing that we're talking about there.
Well, I kind of think this is when you can roll out the term vision holder. And Sir Otto in the chat is saying how he think comics that feel like TV plots are slow and boring compared to the way comics can be unique. Like, it all depends on what the vision is, and if you have a strong vision holder.
Yeah.
Who can articulate their vision, but also give proper feedback to whoever they're working with to maintain it.
You know something? I know I trust someone if they call themselves like a comic writer. It's like this is why I put that poll out a little bit, because I don't always like the way we like everyone will kind of pigeonhole and have preconceived notions, but it's natural and I do it too. But for example, someone tells me they're a comic writer, I will trust them so much more than someone who tells me that they're like an artist who dabbles with writing or writes a little bit. And I can think of examples too. And I think part of that is just carrying yourself and having that ego, kind of putting some pressure on yourself. Like, I'm a writer, this has to be good. Like, people are expecting, and I'm allowing the expectations to be high and I'm going to deliver. Whereas like, that's not as much what, if you're just dabbling or whatever. But then one last thing too is like, it came up, and this is in the poll too, but if you call it a cartoonist, and this is what Frank Miller in his Twitter profile, he says, I'm a cartoonist. And like, there's this long tradition of cartoonists, they all write their own stuff. It's like genius. That's a little bit more even what maybe manga is a little bit in that realm. And that would be like a foil, I think, if we're talking about, that's the ultimate like good counter argument is like, but the only thing about that is a lot of it is like graphic novels. Like, I don't know if there's that many like extended runs, except in manga where they have a lot of assistants and stuff. But
in manga, do both the writers and artists call themselves mangaka? Like, is it the same term for both? Okay.
Yeah.
What a
yeah, I
joke.
wonder if there's
Even
baggage,
have to
like positive baggage behind that. Like if it's like romanticized term, like cartoonist kind of is in America.
It's, well, there's a little romanticization. It's more, how do I say it? Treated as, well, yeah, there's a bit of romanticization, and the term mangaka just means manga professional. So you can separate that into mangaka writer, mangaka artist. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Jay Ryan asked about vision holder. That made me think, yeah, because so if you have a vision holder, if say the writer is the vision holder, but that's kind of funny because obviously the artist is the one like making it visual, but you can tell when you read a script that has like a very confident vision and you're like, oh, this is exciting. Like they're really bringing something to the table, really bringing some dreams to the table or whatever.
It's interesting. Who also put it in the chat? Henry Bima says Miller's best work, in his opinion, Dark Knight Returns and Sin City, both which he wrote, and 300. He also wrote and drew. Sorry, he both which he wrote and drew. So yeah, I mean, Frank Miller's like you said,
Dark Knight Returns is like one of the ones you could say is the best ever. But that one also is just a graphic novel. Not that that's even like that'll come up a little bit in this conversation tonight. Is like, this is something when people talk about how do we save the industry, everyone says we need extended runs, which we don't seem to be having. It's like, 3, 4, 5, 6 comic runs. Sometimes you get 12. They said right now Conan is in the 20s though, and they're going to go to like the 50s. So that's an example. Like Jim Zub on Conan, they're they're giving people what they want, and it's bearing fruit. It's working.
That's what Snyder said, right? He's like, if you want to see the comic industry succeed, you need extended runs coming out monthly, right?
Yeah, maybe he said that.
To be attached to the series, it feels like there's no space to get really attached and invested in anything. And I also think it's not the only problem. I don't think it's like this will save the industry, but it's a thing that annoys me because I think it incentivizes people to I don't know if this is true, but from my perspective, I think if creators know this is just going to be a short run and they're not trying to plan for something long term, some people, there isn't as much of a push for, I'm going to make this really good. I need to make sure this keeps selling. And there's a certain level of effort that is taken away.
Yeah,
The
if
other
you
thing-
know that you've got to keep doing stuff for a while, you know you need it to be really potent in its core
Yeah.
concept for it to last that long.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like, say you do survive like 5-10 issues, a lot of artists, that's how they get good is, you know,
Yes.
like, yeah, because they get the repetition. And same with writers, I think. And that's not really happening now. And so it could be a situation where, yeah, like maybe it's just scraping by for literally like 20 issues. In a healthy industry, that would still happen. They wouldn't quite cancel it, you know? And and then, but maybe like, yeah, it starts a new arc on issue 21, and all of a sudden that's like the writer's masterpiece, and the artist has got really good all of a sudden, and then you're dealing with some really awesome. I feel like there's a lot of examples of that too.
I think this is a thing you see in manga sometimes. They'll start off doing something and then change their mind after a few chapters. It almost feels like that's the golden arc in Berserk, right? You have the opening bit, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I want to take this back to the start of the story," and you jump into the golden arc, and it's like a whole new thing right from the beginning after like a warm-up period.
I'm pretty sure Mura has said that he definitely didn't have all of Berserk planned out from the beginning, and a lot of manga isn't planned out from the beginning. All they know is, I'm gonna make this as good and as long as possible, with keeping in mind it will end at some point. And I think that's a good approach to have. This is interesting, and I don't think people have brought up what you guys just said, that it takes time for a writer and an artist to settle into a series. And if everything is just short series, you don't have that time. Like I'm thumbnailing the 4th and 5th books of Fiendish now, and I feel like I have the art down after 2 books, which is over 150 pages, include two and a half books, 2.5, so that's 3 books. And the writing, it's constantly being refined, so it's taken me this long. And I think no matter how much you plan and how much you've trained beforehand and how good you are as an artist, you need that time to really immerse yourself and for the world to come to life even after issue 1. And that's not really allowed right now.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's funny you bring it up, Jake, because it made me think of this, which going back to talking about webtoons and like scrolling comics. This is Tomahawk Angel from Odie. You guys remember Odie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have both of those. There's like at least 2 out now, right?
There's 2. Yeah. Have you read it? I have the second
not.
one. I haven't read the second one yet, but I had Odie on last year, a couple of years ago, to talk about this when it came out through Dark Horse. The art's really awesome, really crazy. But so like, let's see. So it reads backwards, right? So this much of the story progresses in it, and a little spoilers here. One of the side characters gets like picked up by this dragon and eaten, and then glitches out. And turn the page this way, and then the next page, like everything vanishes, and the character starts back over at the beginning of the story, like where you met her. And you're like, what?
And then someone says, "Rise, taint."
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the hell just happened? We're back in this like elevator shaft where she was. And so I asked Odie on stream, I'm like, oh, what was behind that? We're gonna learn, like, and he's like, oh, I just didn't know where I was going. And I
That is great.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Oh, you know,
he's like,
I heard a good
directions.
I heard a good anecdote from Arvid. We were talking about randomly one of the pitfalls that can befall writers at any point, really, but it's when it's this situation where you have like binders of world building, and how that can kind of paralyze you if your world building if you have more world building than like story, and you don't know where to start, and you kind of are flummoxed, you know? Yeah. So I'm sure we can all kind of relate to that. What were you going to say, Jake? But I haven't finished my story, but what are you gonna say?
Well, okay, sorry. The thing is, the whole world building thing, it's like, great, world building is great. It can become a bit masturbatory. The point of world building is to build stuff for a story. Like, you engineer things that can create stories, not just this is the world and I'm having fun building it. I think you should only really make parts of your world built that will actually fuel reveal or a progression or an arc or something. They'll actually power the storytelling.
Fair enough, but not everyone does that, I guess. A lot of people find themselves in that situation, though. But so anyway, what Arvid said he did was at that point he knew that was happening and was mad about it, kind of, and frustrated that it had kind of paralyzed him. So he ended his world. So he turned his world that he just made, he turned it into a post-apocalypse, and he started writing the story after the end of the world. So he destroyed everything he had made in continuity and then started the story from there. I was like, that is hilarious.
That's cool.
That is an interesting approach. I recognize that world building can be very in the weeds, but I felt like I was falling into that same trap of let's just start building. I saw a YouTube video on ancient Roman tax systems, so now I really want to write about tax systems and Fiendish, George R. R. Martin style. But who the fuck actually cares about that when you're reading the book, right? So what I've done is write everything out. I have pages and pages, hundreds of pages probably of world building documents, but I don't look at it anymore. I write it all out because it's like a guilty pleasure. And when I'm writing the book though, it's a different mode of story writing mode, and I just incorporate what I remember, because if it's not worth incorporating the story, I won't remember it. It won't come up in the story. So there's a certain approach that works personally, and I maybe it'll work for someone else, of just do the world building, but when you write the story, don't be constrained by the world building. Just incorporate whatever does work, almost like put it aside.
Yeah.
The way Ovid did it sounds cool. It's like he built his prison, and then he broke out of the prison he built, and he's like just doing a big prison. Him writing this story now is like him breaking out of that prison with all the improvised tools from the old prison bars.
It would kind of put you in a cool situation to be kind of empowered to be like, no, I know everything, but we're not focused on any of that, but I know it all.
Yeah.
Well, if it's interesting enough, then you'll remember it as you're writing the story. So just write it all out and then don't look at it anymore.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, maybe we'll just jump into this. I got this presentation here. So let me see. So difference between movies and comics, also manga, also TV. They all have differences that you can get into.
Ooh.
But some of this came up kind of in the public discussion because Scott Snyder, and he was calling it the comic fundamentals and getting back to it. And I was reading everything he was saying, and I'm like, okay, my interpretation of what you're saying is we need to stop doing Netflix pitches, of which he was one of the ones who was guilty. He was doing a lot of those. And so it's funny because he did say that too. He's like, I've been guilty of this too, guys. We got to start doing we got to get back to fundamentals.
Yeah.
So I think fundamentals in a way, it's just getting comics, embracing what comics can be, like their special medium, and we can try and define that. That's something he mentioned, but he didn't go into a ton of detail. He gave a couple examples, like kind of like ending on every 22 pages. There's like a cliffhanger that wants to make you keep reading, and that is funny. That's very exclusive to comics, like literally nothing else
about
has that.
American monthly comics, right? He was saying is going to revitalize the industry, is getting back to that and having, like you were saying, long runs. I just saw a podcast, speaking of Scott Snyder, the Ink Pulp podcast a couple weeks ago had Nick Dragotta on it, who is the absolute Batman artist who cut his teeth on crunched my book. Cut his teeth on East of West, which was a monthly indie image book that did 45 issues. It's a huge run. And so now he's on Absolute Batman, and he was talking about the monthly grind and making royalties off of this book and how important it is to have creator-owned work out there as well. But I would love to talk to someone like that, or to like Chuck Dixon, who was a writer or artist that had that monthly grind, and the difference between writing for that and writing your own crowdfunded material, because there's that monthly deadline and decisions you have to make, and how long is your story arc plotted out for. Like, all that stuff is so interesting to me, because that's something that I've never jumped into, or had the
In crowdfunding, that it's a sort of a little negative of crowdfunding. It's underdeveloped for some of us, and I've only just started to try and force myself to do it, where it's like, I'll even give myself some leeway. I'll say like every 30 or so pages, but it has to like be where you can cut it off, and that could be one issue, which is slightly different than like your regular story structure that you'd see in a movie
that's
or something.
actually that's where I'm going with my new stuff. Like the Western, it's a new chapter or issue every 26 pages, and I've kind of like landed on 26 just because it's a little bit more room, and you can put a little bit more action than a regular floppy, which it's still basically just a floppy. But I'm now gearing that series to go that way, and then the first arc is 4 chapters.
Yeah. So we all know like a lot of, when we can start guessing fundamentals later, we all know the Netflix pitch. One thing I was thinking about the Netflix pitch is, like, it's kind of funny because there are sort of like contradictions. Like, for example, there's a writer who actually works for Netflix, and that's Mark Miller, and so like Vatican City, there are plans to turn that into a movie. So it could get called a Netflix pitch, but that one is deliberately written like it's written to be a comic and drawn and laid out.
Right.
It's way different than what the movie would ever be, and he does that on purpose.
I would assume one of the drawbacks to the whole Netflix pitch thing is people drawing shots that are easy to visualize on film. They wouldn't bother doing the yo-yo page. You know what I mean? But like, how is someone going to convert that yo-yo bit to the movie? You know what I mean? Like, they're going to have to be creative with that, which would create a better result than if you had just made it a easily convertible visual.
And I think that's why they have someone like Mark, because he pairs with comic book artists, So they have the vision to lay it out in comic book format, even though it's being funded by a movie corporation, basically.
Yeah. And sometimes if it's like a movie, I don't think anyone complains if the movie that it's like is actually really good and it's good, if everything's good. It's kind of when it starts to get crappy. It's like, well, movies are crappy, Netflix movies are crappy, and you made a comic about a crappy Netflix movie. It's crappy. It's all crap. Whereas like you could just make, if it was a comic that's a lot like a movie, that could still be really good. And that's a little bit what they were doing before comics became movies. They were trying to be movies because they wanted to get that Hollywood money. And so that was like kind of early 2000s, 2010. You did have a whole bunch of comics. Those were the early quote unquote Netflix pitch comics, but they were so good that Hollywood sought them out, made movies, they became massive hits, and then and nobody's complaining. And then later on, when you're like all needy and like, me too, pick my movie next. Like, this is trash, dude.
Well, I think that era. Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. Go for it.
That era of early comic book movies, quote unquote, that were successful were people who they knew what they were doing. And you're talking about successful series like The Walking Dead that came out around that time too. And what happened was those were still people that understood comics and cared about making a good comic, instead of people that just wanted to be in Hollywood and were using comics as a jumping board. And I think what happened is people saw that success and thought comics were kind of an easy path to Hollywood. It was like they treated comics like storyboards, like a cheap art form, and they didn't really have respect or care for comics itself. And that's what happened afterwards. That's why comic book movies now have a bad name.
Yeah, totally. It has been a little bit of this like sine wave thing where, and it could come back. Like it could be a situation later where all of a sudden comics are way cooler than movies, way different. All the movies want to be comics and not the other way around.
Well,
That'd be
I don't
great.
know if any other film did do it, but I remember back in the day when Shaun of the Dead was out, they actually, after the film, made a graphic novel version of the film. And it does not look like a Netflix pitch. It like had some of the magic of comics and how it would be converting the story to paneling, which was great. But I don't know if anything else has done that.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's just some artists that prefer laying books out cinematically. Like you look at like Frank Quitely, a lot of his stuff looks like it's almost drawn for a film where it's every panel is widescreen stacked on top of each other. You know, there's just some guys with and stories that are just like that. It's just because that's
Yeah.
their
Well, he was biggest in the era where they were like courting Hollywood like that.
right. Like yeah, even like when Miller did the Ultimates, right? Like that stuff looks like it's movie stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And the one I read, Wanted, is like that. And Wanted goes so far as having like fan casting. They literally put Eminem is the main guy,
Yeah.
and the girl who's the Bond chick, who's I don't know, I don't know. The girl is a cool Bond chick,
Yeah.
black girl, who's Catwoman
They
too.
talked about that on the stream yesterday with Miller. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's funny. I missed
Yeah.
some of that.
Halle Berry, right?
Yeah, Halle Berry. She was like, yeah. So they're kind of courting Hollywood, and if you did that today, it would be more like looked down upon slightly, I think. But back then, it was cool.
Miller said that Sam Jackson contacted Marvel about it after it was brought to his attention, and they cut some deal. Like he has to get a royalty for them using Nick Fury before he was Nick Fury in the film.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. Cool. Well, what's the next one? So yeah, comic strengths. What are like the fundamentals? So 22-page intervals with satisfying ending. It can be a cliffhanger, but it has to be satisfying. You got to have action. That was on the Chuck Dixon top 10 or whatever.
Yeah, his
Ten Commandments.
10 Commandments. What was it? 3 action pieces per book.
Yeah, you just got to. If you don't, then
What are you doing?
Yeah. Pro wrestling style overlap of cameos, shared world. I've thought this before, like, and this is like the collectathon, like, yeah, like that's part of the fun of American comics that's unique to American comics is that kind of overlapping characters, crossovers,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Awesome paneling, multiple beats, one panel. That's just one example, but yeah, that was example even with the yo-yo page, like stuff that can't. This is comic strengths. Like movies can't do it. Manga could conceivably do it too. There's some overlap, obviously.
That's big because right now I like today I listened to like a very normie podcast talking about the weekly comics that come out. And as much as our friends are trashing the absolute Martian Manhunter art, like it's very psychedelic and 70s and almost indie, and I was thinking about this today. I'm like, a lot of the mainstream comics right now that people are buying look like indie comics. And indie comics, a lot of them are striving to look like mainstream comics because that's what they like. You know, the creators probably grew up on 90s bombastic, very slick, streamlined comics, and they're making that. But a lot of the creators that DC and Marvel are hiring, their art is now looking more indie, and that I think that Absolute Martian Manhunter is in that same vein where to me the art looks indie. Everybody that's reading it is loving it. Like they love that book, and what you're talking about with this like multiple beats in one panel stuff you can only do in comics is seemingly happening in that book a lot. Like they're doing this thing where you could only see part of the art if you hold it up to a light. Like,
wait, how?
Where it's like
Gross.
the colored over, where it's like I don't have an issue, but if you look it up, you'll be able to see it. Where you hold it up and you'll see like Martian Manhunter's face in a spot that you can't see on either side of the
so it's like
page.
Oh damn!
it's just the K value layered into really dark colors, right?
Yeah, there's like it's gimmicky, but it's nothing I've seen done before in interiors. And then they're just really people are digging the story and stuff
It's
like
like
that.
holding money up to the light and seeing the queen's face.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. See,
I don't know.
think people when you when someone when a creator can show that they care about the medium, they're invested in doing something new, and they're enjoying what they do. The readers are invested too. I think that's all it is. Like people can say that it's art is janky or whatever, or that it's not standard, but I think people just want investment in something new.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is striking a chord or whatever, like lightning in a bottle. It feels cool.
It's taking a chance, and a lot of this absolute stuff is it's taking a big chance and to switch things up. But people are buying it. I mean, Batman is like on its 7th reprinting, right? And so it seems like they're going to be doing it for a while. If Snyder's the guy that's like, we got to do this for long runs, you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
So a few more things. Edgelord, I think oddly enough, I do think this is a pro of comics. For the longest time, this was something comics could do that movies can't do. And it could be like that again, you know, like
well, it's kind of like the stuff that was in indie horror films, letting themselves be edgy. When people would make weirdo vanity projects just with them and some friends too, like the stuff Red Letter Media would make fun of. You know what I mean? Like that kind of used to be in films, but who's making indie films? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. If that does exist in films, but it's like indie self-made stuff. Idealized forms. This is just a classic. This is the fundamentals, though. It's like so if you're filming a movie, you're limited to the human bodies that you have available to you.
Right.
You're not limited. This is out. People always talk about the budget, which is the next one, but just talking about the face of like if you're pointing a camera at someone, you can make it look like whatever you want if you're an artist. So like making them look handsome and beautiful is like one of the fundamentals of comics.
Yeah, but that's also
like Luther Strode comes to mind, how super stylized that was, and it was so good.
Yeah,
it's super cool. But at the same time, I mean, that's the artistic freedom you have with comics is you can put anything down on the page like you have your infinite budget. But then, I mean, you're also going to get on the flip side, you're going to have the I'm Not Starfire books, or what is that? Faith? Was that is it Faith? She's that fat chick superhero. You're going to get that. You can't get that though, because it's comics. You draw whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. In a weird way, that's idealized just in a different direction.
Sure.
But yeah. I mean, if you're going to make a comic about a fat lady, you can make her really fucking fat because it's a comic. And that's
exactly.
Awesome.
It's like Buttface from Preacher. You can make him really look fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's like this is one of the fundamentals of comics. You could call that like exaggeration, which actually is one of the fundamentals of animation. That's funny.
It's so interesting to think about this because you're saying like comparing it to film, like film, you could spend extra money to cast Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime and be this jacked beast, or you could settle for Joe Schmo. Now the starlets are these oddly spaced-eyed chicks, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I love Anya Taylor-Joy as an actress. I enjoy movies that she's been in.
She's good.
And she's got that thing, which is, whatever. But is that going to influence comics at some point? Like, is there going to be someone out there that draws the main character of the comic with that little
Well, that would be like a strength of comics, hopefully, is that they can resist that and continue to draw
Right.
humans regularly.
But does the culture, does reality influence the comics at some point with like that? You have some like hipsters in California or Pacific Northwest. Are they going to do that? We'll see.
Yeah. So with the infinite budget, I have a few little outside the box ways to push back on this. One is that you're already ceding the frame to the movie. Like you're talking about comics in movie terms. Like comics almost shouldn't even be talking about budgets. You know what I mean? Like that is not a comic concept. So I don't know
Right.
what and it's like whatever. But then the other thing is, if you're talking about limitations, like how movies have limitations, and then sometimes in the ways that movies don't have limitations are kind of negatives in some ways, like too much CGI. They're like, oh, we could do anything with CGI. There's no limitations. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. Like whatever you make with that, it's going to be crap. Like I would much rather you like actually buy a bus and crash it into a building, and we're all just like, yes,
Yeah.
rather than having like 6 buses crash into a stadium or whatever. So even with comics, like as far as like maybe this is not even something you need to think about, but knowing that you have freedom is good. But having some kind of limitations, I actually still like doing that. That's one thing I still haven't moved the other direction on. Is I like if I can tell a story and be like, this is going to be a one location story. Like that's kind of a movie thing. You would keep it one location because that would be a way to save money.
Right.
But in a comic, you don't have to do that. But I like doing it anyway because it's fun. I think it's the way it.
Right. You have the
It
freedom
actually
to
makes you
do
more
that,
free.
right? You're not limited by a budget or anything. It's just you can create your own, and sometimes that builds pressure in other areas of your story that highlight it.
Yeah, it is like
Concept.
it creates new creative juices flowing, kind of thing. Part of what
Yeah, is
I
that
we
think
how
all like
Foreign
doing.
Agent was?
Oh, go
What's
ahead.
that?
Is that how Foreign Agent was? It's like very minimal setting, right?
Yeah, it all takes place in one house.
Yeah.
And that was a movie script before it was a comic, which is
Hmm.
that's a Netflix pitch kind of thing. But
There you go.
even if it wasn't, I would still want to do something like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something, Rini?
I forgot. It's fine.
You forgot?
I forgot. Yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say. Therefore, it wasn't important.
You chugged a 40 while we were talking. Now you forgot.
Yes.
Okay. The comic definition of form. This helps you know what is available. The pros of the comic. This was kind of fun to think of. We can think of more maybe, but so comics, they can't use music. Just an example, whatever. They don't have
Right.
music at their disposal. They're static images in sequence combined with words. They call it sequential art sometimes. Whatever. Printed on paper, you turn the page. This is all a thing. They don't have access to great actors. Some of these are like limitations, but they can be good or bad. In the comic versus graphic novel, they're in some ways different, but this is all kind of the
Yeah,
same here.
it's interesting because like you bring up the actors part, right? That would be your creative team basically. It's like, okay, why would a production company want great actors? Obviously for
Yeah,
their skill, but because they're marketable, right? So this guy's done this project and this guy was in whatever Terminator 2 in the past. People love Terminator 2. They might like my thing now that we're paying him to be in it. So he brings value in marketing as well. And that's interesting to look at as well with a creative team, an artist, inker, writer, colorist, if they have a fan base, maybe they'll
yeah.
bring them
That's
with
like the
them.
opposite. So if it's a limitation that you don't have, that your medium doesn't implement actors, but your medium does implement artists and writers and like designers,
Right.
and they all bring something to the table. You can get some of the, because the one thing actors bring is like the special sauce, whatever this like the what are the words, like the crazy improvisational like
Charisma.
magic.
Or,
Just like the happy accidents. You get a lot of happy accidents from great actors.
Yeah.
And so comics would seemingly not have that, but you could get, there are ways that you could still kind of have happy accidents within comics within collaborating.
Definitely, and I do remember what I was going to say now, because the whole not having actors and especially not having music, I think the no sound is definitely a limitation, but I don't see not having actors as a limitation, because when your characters act, that's the artist's work, and that pushes the artist to be a better artist and draw expressions better, or be better at conveying emotion through paneling and shot choices. And I think all of these are, even the lack of sound and music, are ways that can push a comic artist to be a better storyteller. And I saw a thing, it was a mangaka talking about how he conveyed sound using manga, and he was drawing this comic that didn't use sound effects. And what he would do is, it was like, there was one page, it was gorgeous, I forgot what it was called, but it was a manga where a character was watching an iceberg, a cab, so an iceberg crash, like crack in half, and he cut away to a panel of a building collapsing, and then back to this guy watching an iceberg collapse, or like crack in half.
Oh, like a free association thing, or
yeah,
something?
you think of that sound, and he was challenging himself to make a comic without any sound effects, but just to invoke that in your head using visuals. So it pushes, all of these things push artists to be more inventive and to draw better, I think.
Yeah, it kind of makes you more creative. Yeah. Yeah, and so if you don't have actors, that changes how the storytelling kind of a lot. Like, so one thing is with manga, there's a difference between one thing manga has, they have a library of shorthand that replaces acting. And American comics don't even have that really. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, they have like when the eyes become upside down trapezoids, or the mouth.
Yeah. Little anger crosses.
Yeah,
Don't die.
ooh.
Or like the
vertical
sweat drops.
lines on the face for depressed.
Yeah.
The little sweat drops when someone feels uneasy. Like, that's the only one that kind of still sticks around for me, because I try to not use those shorthands, because I'm trying to, do like, this is old manga looking, but not that manga.
Yeah.
And it's realistic, but it's it is a set of shorthands that helps you just convey, oh, someone's angry and whatnot.
Yeah, and it works great for that. It's funny, but it is like sort of so different, and it's because it's an alternative to like what movies would have an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and another thing you can do just in comics is a lot of acting is context. So like the actual acting, they're literally doing nothing. They're staring like past the camera with a dead face. But because you set up all this context, then the audience is like, "Oh fuck, dude! Oh shit! Like, he's pretty pissed right now," and he's like literally doing nothing. And that's comics can still do that. You can still have great performances just by setting up good context. Cool. So manga, some of this we got over. Manga's a little harder to find because in some ways it's like, well, it's just like comics except Japanese. Is there any differences? We talked about the embarrassment of riches and the fractal storytelling. Some of that is overlap, like a Venn diagram, but play crazy concepts straight. The manga's a lot more slice of life, maybe a lot more humor, a lot more cuteness, and the shorthand for acting that works really well. That's some manga stuff.
Too cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole embarrassment of riches thing is when it is ambiguous how long your series is going to be going for. So you kind of put as much gas in the tank as possible, right? I think that stuff comes into existence just not knowing the ending yet for some series.
Yeah.
Like I do, it does make me go on.
Yeah, or like even I would add to this, I would add the fact that it's the Shonen Jump magazine format where
Right.
you only get 20 pages and you sink or swim, and that goes with the embarrassment of riches thing. Like, we're starting fast, strong with throwing everything at the wall. Get ready kind of thing.
Yeah, getting back to that like monthly thing for a second. In that same podcast, Matteo Scalera is one of the hosts, and he was talking about when he was doing Black Science with Rick Remender, and they were like I think that ran for maybe around 50, 45 issues as well. And he's like around issue 38. I was like, all right, we should wrap this up, And I guess Rick knew the ending and he could have kept going, but they like went towards that final arc. So like it seems with some artists, you work on something for so long and I don't know if it's a burnt out thing or it's like, oh, I'm ready to move on to the next project. And which is also a really interesting concept because Mateo was the artist. He was working with a writer. How does that differ from someone like a mangaka that's just doing both, and it's their idea, even though there's a bunch of manga that has endings, some that don't, they're still going on. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the
totally.
assumption is manga will all have an even One Piece at some point, assumedly, will end. And it will only be Oda, one writer artist, but it will end at some point. And I think those are exceptions. Oda's an exception. And any other long running series. I think people do eventually get tired of projects, but at the same time, longer projects would be nice. Like something that's not just 6 issues.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
My issue is I have too many ideas and want to make them all at once.
Yeah.
That's a good
I think a lot of
problem to
people
have.
can kind of relate to that. It's like the meme where the guy's looking at the girl that he's walking by and ignoring the girl he's with.
Like, oh, already
Like that
3
with
books
ideas.
into one series. There's another series I just thought of.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Movie strengths, psychology, which this is will come up later because comics are also good at this. Manga is also good at this, and this is kind of the most important thing in storytelling in some ways. Movie strengths. Movies can do dialogue monologue. That kind of that makes sense if you think about it, right? Like comics, if you put the Pulp Fiction like dialogue in a comic, people would be like, "What the fuck is this?" 16 pages of one conversation about burgers.
Yeah. I've got to do the acting in my head for this one head drawing. I've got to act out this whole monologue.
yeah. Like something like that. So anyway, yeah, it's funny. Like it's totally different. Like that's kind of a big one. And you can see if people do that too much in a comic, it kind of it will suffer a little bit, make the comic suffer. The limited budget. I think the limited budget is a strength. I still, for some reason, I think that's a strength
for movies.
Unlimited.
Well,
yeah.
Thing is, all limitations breed creativity, and each medium has its different limitations, right? Like, you only have so much room on a page. You've got to try and hit the page turn. There are still limitations, right? And it's those things that get you thinking of how am I going to fit in these. Like a lot of the times when doing layouts for stuff, it's like, how am I going to fit this in? Even though you could say, oh, I can do anything. You can be in as many pages as you want. It's like, no, there's a specific flow you want to hit. So now all of these character arcs need to get condensed into like 1 page each, but not be shit.
Oh God, tell me about it.
It's a really good point.
Yeah, there's definitely. Technically, there's no limitations, but if you want it to be good and not a slog to read, you have to put limitations on yourself. Like this book cannot be 200 pages of badly paced meandering. It has to be structured. I need every page to have progress. So those are all limitations.
Yeah, actually, with comics, one that for comics, I'll be like writing a script maybe, and I'll kind of be planning it out in my head, and it might be a conversation. And it'll be like, say it's like gets up to 8 pages, and I'm like, I'm not drawing 8 pages of these 2 people talking.
Right.
So.
No, what happens a lot. It's like I'll plan something out, and I'll plan like this whole dialogue, especially with dialogue scenes. Like this is too much fucking talking. They need to be doing something. Then you just find shorter ways to say things with less words, and then add more things the characters are doing. That happens a lot in comics.
Yeah. Yeah, with movies with the opposite of a limited budget, I feel like is like CGI green screen. Like the most kind of terrible way you can think of that. Like it's barely a movie. It's like the worst trash. and all the things we love about movies like cinema, like when they do it for reals, the stunts, and it feels real, and they captured it with the camera. Like
Yeah.
that is so awesome. CGI is so terrible, and that's a little bit of this like, what are the limitations kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like that. We only get one chance. This stunt, guys. Everyone better be firing on all cylinders, like the McBain acid in The Simpsons. But I do think that you should actually seek out limitations when making something. I mean, even that example of the mangaka that didn't want to add sound effects. That's a self. Yes, you can do anything. So, but he chose his limitations. You can limit yourself in any way you choose. He was like, I will do a manga without sound effects, and that made him creative.
Is limitations like rules? Could you just say picking some fun rules for yourself for a project to follow?
Yeah, I mean, say like, okay, I'm going to tell these stories. They have to be within 10 pages, or I can only have one close up on a face per page. Like they're not very good examples, but the story will stay in. Okay, the one you mentioned, making a film where all of it happens in one room.
Yeah. Which is
I love films like that.
Good.
Yeah, creative.
I've seen that movie.
Breed creativity. Yeah, it would make that. It's funny, that would make the movie better if you're thinking about that. Like if you picture it being good or whatever.
What's that one movie that's like that?
Rope.
No,
I don't know. There's a couple.
7 men in a duffel bag or something. 12 Angry Men.
Maybe
90 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men is like that. There's a Hitchcock movie called Rope that's like that. It's awesome. Yeah, a lot of plays.
By 12 Angry Men.
But that's it. Then we get into more differences between like plays and movies and stuff. But Irene, there's one you like that's like about a test, right? Do you remember that one? Like an exam. It might be called Exam. I don't know. She's drinking her 40 right now, so she
can't. I saw someone talk about. I was watching a video and they referenced this movie, this Japanese movie, and I don't think I've heard of it, but I feel like I bet Pierre's seen this.
What is it?
Died. They both seppuku'd. The movie is House.
Yeah.
You seen it?
No, I just know of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's famous.
Yeah, and it seems crazy. I might want to watch it, even though I don't like subtitles.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to watch that one too.
Surreal.
I saw a pretty good one called Door. Have you heard of anyone called Door?
It's not. You're making that up.
No, it's a Japanese movie called Door. It's not, and it's like a spin-off of House. No, just kidding. I don't know. But it is a real movie. It's about a girl looking at her door, and it's creepy. And more stuff happens. Actually, quite a bit happens. But.
House is like a haunted house movie, and it's like super surreal, and a bunch of like weird stuff just happens randomly. And that's because the director co-wrote it with his 9-year-old daughter at the time. And he's like, she's scared of things that children are scared of, and I'm gonna put those things in this film. It's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I want to see it. Yeah, so don'ts for comics, they're kind of obvious, and we've gone over it. No long conversations, no food. Like I'm like, maybe you could have food, but that's for some reason that's become a meme. I feel like there was too much of it in the era of trash.
Food is fine when it's a trope of a character. They do this a lot in mangas and like Japanese anime. They'll have one character that's like always eating, when no one else is eating, and then they'll like that's their characteristic is like, oh, they love eating, and it's just like it's not them sitting at a bench in a cafeteria with 100 other people, that's a no.
Yeah. Dilly says only giant bananas. I will not let anyone forget that I am the one who put a giant banana in a comic.
Yeah.
My claim to fame.
I'm a talking pineapple, man.
Don'ts for movies. The main one, I was just like, yeah, kind of similar to comic. Like if it's political trash, if it's needy trash. But a big one is too much CGI. I feel like that's a really big one for movies that everyone kind of feels, and maybe not everyone says it exactly like that, but it's just such a
oh no, yeah, it's rampant.
Yeah,
really, really.
It's kind of, it feels like that's like a big, the rampant issue with modern Hollywood is just
yeah.
they show the behind the scenes too, and like behind the scenes for modern movies, it's like guy green screen, and it's like it's like so boring. And if
Yeah.
you compare that to like the 80s, yeah, it's like all right, we built a special contraption just to pull off to move the train without crashing at 60 miles an hour to get the shot. So when the green light shines, everyone go. We're gonna let off the explosives, and you got to catch it with the camera. And the stunt man is gonna jump and land. You know, like they get all that, and they're like, "Cool, we just got 8 seconds of a 2-hour movie." Everyone high fives.
Right.
Yeah.
You blew our budget on this one stunt. Yeah. Modern movies rampant with really bad CG. And then Oliver was saying, why no food in comics? Just because the last 10 years of mainstream comics has been conversations over coffee or eating, or just sitting in a spot, digesting food, talking about food. It's just like this stigma rampant with they're not changing up the what is that, the 20 panels that always work. They're not using that ever. They're
Yeah.
just sitting at a tea house talking.
Snug says, I prefer practical effects to my comics. That is like almost thinking of like getting away from that budgetary thinking and just going for what's cool. Because if you think of a comic version of like a stunt, like and making it badass versus like the CGI version, sometimes it's like so dumb if you picture it in your head. I know like one example, Jake, let me know if you know about this, but it's like when you're learning 3D and you can do camera moves in 3D, sometimes people will like do a 360 spin around everything, versus sometimes they'll film it and they'll just pretend the camera's extra heavy so it accelerates super slow, just a slow pan in, and it looks amazing versus like spinning it around because they can, because they have unlimited whatever.
There's that rule in filming where it's better to put the camera where it could plausibly go, right? And even that's imitating actual camera work in 3D instead of you're doing big zoom arounds.
Yeah.
But, the practical effects thing straight away, that made me think, oh, now I gotta have a comic where one of the characters is suddenly claymation, and it's like a puppet or a prop that you take photos in and edit it into the pages. That everything else is hand drawn, or even making a set and draw. In fact, you do this because you do 3D with the sets sometimes, right? And you'll draw the characters in. Like that's even the AI art background you did once and then drew the characters in. That's kind of practical effects, the comic version.
Yeah. Well, in Earthbound I draw people as puppets in Earthbound. So I'll take some
there you go.
back pats for that.
Would you take photos of puppets? Put like little
No, I just draw them as puppets,
Okay.
Inexplicably.
That's funny.
But yeah, I like practical.
Get a 3D
Rini,
CGI
what's up?
character to turn up.
What's up? Great
Do you
internet
have any
here.
thoughts, Rini, on anything that we've been talking about? Tell us your thoughts on the do's and don'ts of comics versus movies and food and comics, dialogue, manga.
I agree with everything that everyone just said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You heard it here first, people. Irene agrees with us. What did we say? Did we say anything controversial?
I agree.
Oh no.
Yeah, she agreed to something extremely controversial, but I forget what it was.
Now
Definitely didn't just
think
not hear any of that.
It'd be cool to do a comic where you draw the different elements in layers and then print them out and cut them out and take photos of that. Maybe all this stuff would look lame because then it's the medium over the story. But yeah, this is
I think it sounds cool. So what that I did this little list of like what is cinema, and so cinema is definitely another romanticized term. Maybe it gets overused and then ridiculed, but it definitely could be like this positive term that has a lot of baggage, but it's kind of like good baggage. And that's something I wonder about. Like that's an advantage to movies, that movies have this baggage, positive baggage of cinema. When people think of cinema, like cinema, I'm like, is there anything like that for comics? Like if comics could have that kind of baggage and feel, and what would that be? But for movies, just for example, like there's some quotes about it, like this is Godard, but he says, all you need to make a movie is a girl with a gun or a girl and a gun. And this is a Hitchcock quote. He says, "I don't make slice of life. I make slice of cake," which I've said
Now,
that before.
I love that because I hate slice of life anything. So I
Yeah.
agree with him.
So what is cinema? Beautiful women, minimalism, psychology, set pieces, sequences, mix of music and visual, great acting. Cinema captures the performance, the location, the sequence, the illusion of reality, suspension of disbelief is like part of the fun, super strong. And the word sequence too, I like. It comes up a lot. And that can be in comics too, but
how about this one? Verisimilitude. What do you think about that one?
What's that one mean? I forget. What does that mean?
That's
It's like
in-world
suspension of
believability.
It's like the ability to get lost in the story.
Yeah.
And believe it.
Yeah. Cool. I do like that. And that applies to comics and movies.
Well, these all apply. Well,
hello? Hello? Is anyone there?
Reedy, are you okay?
She's about to.
She just got darted in the neck. She just she passed out. I think she was going to say these also apply to comics.
Oh yeah, these do. These all also apply to comics. I don't know, pretty much straight up, but they're more romanticized for cinema. But the one thing when you say cinema is a little bit different than TV. These don't apply as much to TV. TV has its other things that it's into, and comics can like have a Venn diagram with that too. You know,
yeah,
that might come up.
Oh,
yeah, so cinema versus TV. TV is episodic. The stories aren't as special. Like you have hundreds of them. You don't just have one special story. Acting isn't as good. Cinematography isn't as good. There's more dialogue. There's less action. There's no set pieces or sequences. I was like, is there any pros? And I'm like, well, the episodic is awesome. Like, so the people love that. Everyone loves it. It's great. And that's like comics can have that too, for sure.
And it's so like everything's kind of like interchangeable as well. So like some TV series have that, like the more modern, say Netflix series would have an overarching plot, right? And you'd have filler episodes because they got to stretch it out to 12 episodes, 9 episodes. So you could lose some attention there. But you look at something like, we talk about this all the time, Columbo, something like that, where or Miami Vice, where it's self-contained, episodic. You start over on the next episode. It's totally its own arc story, and that stuff is really awesome. And that's more akin to a Western comic, right?
Yeah, and that is one of the greatest things. Like that's kind of one of the greatest things about Columbo and all that stuff is to just revisit the world. It's kind of a form of addiction. We can get hooked on it. We just I want to go hang out with Columbo for an hour again. Like,
yep,
let's do it. And that isn't exactly tied to like great quote unquote acting. Like Peter Falk, you could say he's a great actor, but when he's being Columbo, he's just like saying his lines. It doesn't mean that much to him. He's like kind of chill or whatever. So some hypotheticals. I think we're getting towards the end here. Hypotheticals. A story about a super stinky apartment. What would be best for the medium to tell this story? A movie, a comic, or a manga, or a TV show? Go. Jake, what do you think?
Smell-o-vision. Just bring it back. Full Scratch.
Yeah.
Okay, I bet you could put scratch and sniff cards if you were going to go full gimmick in a comic. At least you could ship the scratch and sniff with to get the smell across. I would almost say for a scent, like a novel would be the best because of how descriptive you can get. Like you can go for a whole prose.
Did I say novel was an option, Jake?
That's right. That's right.
Phil, what do you think?
I think manga. All right, because you could exaggerate. I mean, manga or comic, interchangeable. You could exaggerate the hell out of the people's reactions that come into the apartment. You could draw the smell lines, the stink coming off of the owner of the apartment's finger, that's where the smell emanates from. He has a sore on his finger, and it's emanating this stench.
Yeah.
And you could draw those stink lines going into, his visitor's nose.
Yeah.
He vomits.
I think you're right. It's either manga or comics, but even manga maybe gets the edge over comics because you could do like the upside down trapezoid face or like
Yep.
the uwu face or whatever. And people be like, dude, that must really stink, dude. I can practically smell it now.
That
just
AIDS
looking at-"
3.
Yeah. Okay, what about this? A tasteful sex scene. Comics, movies, or manga? Jake, go.
Probably TV, where they shove it. Oh, yeah, movies. I don't know how you do a tasteful sex scene in a manga or a comic without making it kind of boring. Like here's the thing about a movie or a TV program. You don't have to keep turning the page. It's turning the page for you, so you can sometimes do stuff that's a bit more subtle. So you don't have to keep pulling people along. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll go for
You
movies.
might, yeah, I think you might be right. I might agree. But there's pros and cons. I think if you're drawing a tasteful sex scene, you can draw very voluptuous breasts that might be more idealized than your
Yes.
actress.
Well,
in the
that's
real
that's
world.
what I mean. Tasteful means like reserved, right? But in a comic, you're gonna want to exaggerate everything so people don't fall asleep. So maybe each boob becomes the same size as the woman's head. It's just necessary, in comics.
Tastefully, though. Super
Sounds
tasteful.
great.
Just giant booba. But so tasteful.
Tasteful giant booba.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Which is cooler, comics, movies, or manga? Anyone? I don't know. I feel like comics they don't win the award for most cool. It's probably movies.
Thing is,
Booba.
coolness is it comes in relation to like what's the new hotness? Like, can coolness be maintained, or will the cool over time become the uncool? So each one will
which
keep
is true.
dethroning each other.
Yeah, so comics right now they're not as cool as movies. We want it to be cooler for sure. Comics should be cooler than movies. There's been time in the past where they were, and we will get there again one day.
I do think manga has the crown of coolness. Films have ran themselves into the ground, and they're not cool in any way, shape, or form. Comics, I think, may be about to become cool again. Yeah, manga's probably in the zeitgeist overall. If you're just thinking of cool factor, it's probably manga. But that's because they have this huge catalog of very great stuff, which are the diamonds, the needles in the haystacks of all the stuff that gets produced. And you have like decades worth of that stuff all turning up at whole sections of Barnes and Noble now. So yeah, it's the new hotness.
Yeah. Care Andrews, I heard him give an anecdote on one of the Millar interviews, and he said that when he was working on Spider-Man for Marvel, he used to write it in a coffee shop, and it would come up once in a while. People would ask him what he's writing, and he would say Spider-Man for Marvel or whatever, and they would be so stoked and impressed and just love him. And he said that now that is not the case. If he said that, they just go, oh, and keep walking.
Really?
Who wants to?
Yeah.
Oh, imagine this. Here's my life. Oh,
Yeah, but when
Yeah.
you do this, they're like, "Holy shit, this is freaking awesome." That's what he's doing.
it
now.
does look cool.
It's so fucking so good.
I just think if two big companies are just going to use the same characters for decades, the characters everyone's seen them eventually. The same thing can't stay cool forever, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
I think I want to do the stinky apartment comic for reals. I'm gonna try and do it.
Yeah.
How would you stinkify it? Not just
Sounds
green
like you.
plumes in the coloring, flies with. Zzz.
Yeah, maybe flies and just people like plugging their nose and be like, oh, God. I want them to plug their nose. You know, you can plug your nose like you're almost punching yourself in the face. Like when you really shove it up there, shove it up your nose, like you break your own nose because you're plugging it so hard and fast. But yeah, it would be kind of the Howard Hughes story. Do you guys know the Howard Hughes story?
He's got like long fingernails.
Yeah, he like holed up in his apartment for like 6 months straight and shat in buckets. But he was a genius, so his friends had to extract him at some point, and they had to like open the door to his apartment. They're like, "Oh God, what have you been doing in here?" Howard.
He's like a
Jesus.
millionaire, right?
Yeah. He's like, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. Psychology is a strength of all three. Which is best at psychology? Really getting in the characters' heads. So this is one like I feel like novels would probably do this the best, but we're not kind of talking about them because they hurt our feelings. So, what do you guys think? Rini, do you have any thoughts?
Like, look at Sin City.
Movies, manga, or comics?
Tell me if my mic is still garbage and you guys can hear an echo.
I think it's
It
okay.
sounds good.
Sounds okay.
Okay, I turned off echo cancellation. Yeah, sorry, technical difficulties. Yes, I mean, I think psychology is the strength of all of these mediums, but it can be expressed in a different way. It's like comics have the unique strength of comics and novels have internal dialogue, but movies don't have that. But movies have that actor factor, the charisma of the actors, right? To show human emotion, and other devices.
In film and TV, it is so easy to use sound and music to put across the psychological idea, the sound effects, like the discordant strings that play on like a tense moment, a scary moment. Yeah. But you can kind of do that with line art style in a comic or perspective, right? If someone's becoming psychologically unraveled, you can draw them more scribbly, that kind of thing. Like the whole of Chainsaw Man it's the very inking of the characters looks rough, similar to like as if the book's been carved out with a chainsaw. You know what I mean? Like the roughness of the art matches the concept of that character.
I felt like the artist was just trying to get through the dang story. Chainsaw Man is really interesting story. Yeah, Chainsaw Man is interesting storytelling because it was very to the point, and usually manga I wouldn't say meanders. That's not the right word because that's not good. They'll sit on a moment more, and Chainsaw Man doesn't really do that. They just bam, 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 next point, and it felt very Western in that way. And like the art was very to the point, which is interesting because Fire Punch is the same artist, and it looked completely different. So, but the art does add to how it feels. It's very brutalist.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. All I can think of with this is one thing that helps a lot with psychology is it's like two things. It's the context of the situation and then the acting performance. And the context can take weight off of the acting performance so they can be more minimalist. And comics can do that really good. And then when it comes to acting performance, they're a little bit more limited to like the shorthand manga style. And
Or
like,
you
what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just thinking you benefit a lot in comics if you have a really good artist. And not a good artist as in someone that can just render a lot or draw a comic artist.
You're roboting, Rini, but I know what you're saying. It's like, sorry, you're roboting really bad, but I know what you're saying. You're saying like when there's a light behind the eyes, like an artist who can bring a liveliness to the characters. Yeah,
someone that can express art. Man, every time I try to talk is exactly when the internet cuts out, so that's really great. But yes, just when someone's art is expressive and when you can convey a lot in exaggeration and still make it look good, and an artist that can switch styles, like what Jake was saying, that's really valuable and rare.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that kind of convinces me. I like hearing more of the strengths from comics because I was gonna say movies can do better. But what are some examples? Can you think of one like something where you really get in the character's head and it's really just kind of fun to be there? Movies are a lot are like that. But so for comics, I think Rorschach and Watchmen is fun. Like anytime it's a sequence with they switch characters, so they switch the point of view, but you get the psychological perspective from whoever is the main character of that chapter.
Yeah.
So like Rorschach, it's definitely like a very psychological medium. Everything about who he is colors like how they kind of write the story and what information they tell you.
Everything Frank Miller did in Sin City as well. Like that was based on, and it's funny because Sin City is heavily influenced from film, from those noir films, pulp detective novels, stuff like that. And he nailed it with each character. And then when they do the films, that's taking from the comics. And the first film nailed that as well. So that's all about character studies and psychology in those vignettes.
I heard The Crow is like that. You guys remember The Crow graphic novel? That's famous.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's very internal monologue and delve into gothic depression. So
Yeah, and the
that was
actual
great.
story is kind of like symbolic of like the psychology or whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and I
great.
don't know for movies, what examples.
The Crow's great. I mean, James O'Barr wrote that as an ode to his girlfriend who was killed by a drunken driver. That's what the catalyst for that. Yeah, and I love that book. The art is really, really cool. It's wonky in some places because it was all him, and he was very early in his career, but a lot of it is like really beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Changes mediums, like he'll do like really detailed ink stuff, and then some of the stuff is like pencil drawings and painted, all black and white too.
So that is an example where it can get almost impressionistic, like Jake was talking about with the inking style and everything. Comics can do that kind of better than movies a little bit.
It would be cool to think about because the stuff we're talking about with comics to change the psychology is like what different art style, different pacing all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to think, okay, what do they do in films where they get creative with that stuff? You know that they have that like hand crank camera that the cranking of the camera decides the speed that the frames are actually being captured at. You know when films get that weird sped up, slowed down effect when things get frantic? Like, there's an actual camera where turning this freaking wheel is deciding the frame rate of the filming. And that can be really cool. Like, in animation, sometimes to put importance on a moment, they'll change the frame rate they'll do, instead of being on 2s and 3s, which is like frames per second, they'll switch to 1s, and it'll suddenly be really fluid just to get a different emotion across.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that. But it is funny. There isn't as many like tricks for movies, dare I say. A lot of times movies it's like, just have a good actor, put the camera on their face and have a good actor, a good scene you wrote or whatever.
In movies and in comics as well, you can changing a color palette, like switching from black and white to color or even sepia tone is a tool. It's not really differentiation, but it's something that like novels obviously can't do that.
Yeah. This is a little random, but someone I don't know who said it, but they were talking about Steven Spielberg. It was like a YouTube thing when they're like, all he does is he shows a shot of someone's face and then a shot of what they're looking at. Shot of someone's face, shot of what they're looking at for 2 hours straight. Yeah. And that is kind of like the psychological way to tell a story. It's just, that's like one of the ways you could tell a story, have strong psychology with the viewer, connection to the characters. And comics can do that too. But I think we do that a lot accidentally. Just if we're telling a story, we're going to do a lot of like reaction, like here's their face, here's what they're looking at. Here's their face, here's what they're looking at, whatever.
I mean, coming down to comics and animation, even the design of the character measures that like Finn from Adventure Time. He has that freaking 2-dot eyes and the little line mouth. That was specifically designed so it's the frog DNA in Jurassic Park. Like, there's only a little bit of dinosaur DNA, and then you put yourself in the rest of the character. Simplified character designs, they compel your mind to automatically make you fill in the blanks. It's the same reason for having like a vague protagonist in a game, so you can kind of become them more. I get you can't, redesign Leonardo DiCaprio's face to be more projectable into.
Yeah. Like in there's a good scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where he's embarrassed because he had to do a scene super hungover and he kind of fucked it up. So he goes back to his trailer, starts yelling at himself, and that's a little different because that is voyeuristic. It's not exactly psychology. It's you are a fly on the wall. You're not supposed to see this him in a super, what do you call it, in a super vulnerable moment. And so it's like a little different what it's doing there, but it's still good stuff, obviously. But
you know what might do it? Because we would probably say that noir style films and TV shows, they do feel more psychological, like you're invested. I'm considering that if you just reduce the amount of information you're offering up, that's when you'll like close in shots or the harsh lighting. Like, okay, yeah, you can't redesign Leonardo DiCaprio's face to be simpler, but you can light it in a way where there's just mostly shadow and one key light and you don't even see his eyes, you just see the mouth doing like a grin or something.
Yeah.
I think that does instantly make it more psychological. You could do the same thing in comics, but
or you could do a POV shot. So one person isn't even seen. The audience is kind of just seeing through their eyes. So it's as minimalist as possible there. And they're seeing the situation, like as they would if they were that person.
It's like
I want to do more POV shots in my comics now. That we said this.
Yeah, make Peep Show the comic.
Yeah, Peep Show style.
First person comic.
Yeah, first person.
You do the smack your bitch up music video, but comic version where you find out at the end who it really was in the view.
What was that movie they did first person? Hardcore Henry? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
How was it? Did anybody see that? I never saw it.
It was so psychological. Just kidding. Yeah,
it seemed like a gimmick.
Another version of that is like, in Saving Private Ryan when it like they're storming the beach and it goes quiet the whole time. Like that's purpose and that became psychological because of the limitation of information. Suddenly the sound's gone and it comes back in with that pitched beep, and then it's suddenly you're back with all the gunshots and bombs going off.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what makes things psychological. You create a lack of information that means someone has to put their own thoughts into it. So it's not as much the character's mind is like forcing it to be happening in your mind.
Yeah. In that case, like that Leo scene where you're watching him freak out and be vulnerable when he thinks nobody's around, but you get to see it. That's like psychological, but it's not his psychology. It's the audience psychology is what it's like. I don't know.
It's interesting.
We could try and dig down on psychology more at some point. It's confusing. It's cool. This is the last slide. Just cultural. What are the differences? So who likes manga? Everyone in Japan and America and the whole world.
Yeah,
who likes comics? Nerds. Who likes movies? Nerds. Movies are kind of down. Movies are not cool these days.
I think movies now.
Yeah.
Movies. Modern movies not so much. I wanted to see Sinners. I have one friend that liked it. I have another friend who hated it and tells me not to go see it. I don't know.
Oh no, you have to go see it.
I don't know. I don't want to
go see it, and then depending on if you like it or not, go to the friend who was wrong and slap
Shame
them
them.
as hard as you can in the face. Yeah.
Shame them. Yeah. I'll just watch it on TV when it comes to TV. It's probably already on TV.
Yeah.
Thing is, I think movies are still almost a everyone likes movies kind of things. It's like everyone, even though Hollywood is kind of, especially Western movies, are kind of in a bit of a dip creativity wise recently. Still, everyone on the whole planet watches movies. How many people on the whole planet read comics, right?
Yeah.
If we could reach the point where everyone does read comics, even if it's not like their go-to entertainment medium, that would be great.
I want to say
Yep.
100,000 people in America read comics. That's it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, we
How do
got
we get
to
there?
get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. We're never
That
going to
would
be
be-
rich with those numbers.
That would be a good show. Maybe that'll be my next topic. How do we get the whole planet to read comics? What is our master plan?
Oh, I already
No.
told you guys.
Oh.
It's my particular nice cult, the Nards. We have to merge and interbreed with the Swifties, Taylor Swift's cult.
Oh, the fans.
You know that-
the fans.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know you're totally very serious about that plan, but also there's an interesting point to that. It's well, first of all, the comics have to be good, right? So having the medium be cool and be good and be entertaining, but people that are already well known in other areas liking the medium and participating is very good for the medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that the more YouTube influencers that start doing comics, sure, you can probably criticize what work they're doing, but they are genuinely onboarding a bunch of new people to the act of reading a comic or a manga. You know what I mean? Like, you hear about them all the time, like Papa Meat is doing a manga. That
Yeah.
like Harry Partridge, you know what I mean? Done animations forever, does an amazing book now. Like, that is slowly large clumps of people being onboarded to the medium, and that is important. It is important to expand that. But yeah, they have to be good. Otherwise, they'll, you could just burn them on the concept. There's the double-edged sword of it.
Yeah. No, I think the more people that want to make comics, YouTubers, even, or anyone who's in another medium, that's great. The key is to have good stuff, though, because you can onboard as many people as you want. If they don't stay, then it's not really worth it. But the first step is onboarding more people. That's the problem that we have right now. So I think the more creators, the better.
Yep. Yep, that sounds good. So in a second we'll start part 2, which doesn't have to last for super long. Alex, let me
Yay.
know if you got that meme, if you're even making one. You are excused if you don't want to make one. And then make sure you include Jake's super racist quote that he said earlier that Irene agreed with. So
The
Yeah.
black tokens and all tokens.
I remember that.
The
Yeah.
black
I
tokens and all-
totally, definitely. Wait, what? What happened? Oh no. Am I
Look.
getting canceled now?
I need to tell you guys something about the whole Pokemon thing. You get 2 stations, and if you play on one of them long enough, it like charges it up. If 2 people play at the same time, sometimes it'll do like a double raid, and if you beat the thing, you both get a token. But there's like a trick. If you play in one machine for long enough and no one sits on the other one, every now and then you're like, this is the moment. I bet if I put money in the second one, it'll turn into a double raid, and then I'll win 2. I did it twice. I have 2 Charizards and 2 wolf things just because I double raided. But yeah, that's it. I got a lot of
Nice.
blacks, that's all, and I love them.
yeah,
Jake.
Good for you.
bringing it back.
Hey, do you have a Wiggly Tuff? Do you have a Wiggly Tuff, Jake?
Wigglytuff isn't in it. There's no Wigglytuff.
What's even the point?
What's the point? There's no Wigglytuff. Who cares?
I was gonna tell you to bring one, a Wiggly Tuff for me.
Oh, you wanted a Wiggly? Is that your favorite Pokemon?
Yeah.
No, it's all the Sword and Shield ones.
I don't know what that means.
Cancel Jake. Oh no.
Pear's gone now. He went to go get some carrots, I think.
Yeah, he's like, Jake started talking about Pokemon again. I guess he's going to be going for 20 minutes. The auction ended, by the way. Congratulations to the winner of the auction. It went for 160. I was thinking someone might have come in and done 169. But yeah.
69. That's true. Let's shout out some people in the chat. We got Jolly, formerly known as Jolly Green, I think. What's up, man? Lieutenant Hughes in the chat, dropping some banger reviews this week. I don't know if you guys
I saw those.
Shout out to Lieutenant Hughes. Cranberry Langers, hold it in strong. Snuggy's here. He's been here for a while. Good to see you, Snug. Hope you dug that book, brother. Matt Cossins, artist. I think you just followed me on like Instagram or Twitter. What's up, Matt? Saying he enjoys slice of life comics. You believe this?
Well, it means you can zoom in on minute emotional, like maybe character interactions where it doesn't have to be. It's if you're going with slice of life, it's like, okay, you guys know ahead of time that this is going to be at a certain pace, which is why genre is important, because it creates expectations for the experience. Then you can either stay in the lanes or experiment within that genre.
I think my issue with slice of life is from what I've seen, the art is very simple and not stimulating for me. So it's hard to get into, but I'm sure someone could do one that is like over the top, in your face, still slice of life, and trick me into reading it that way. That would be kind of
I think
funny.
the point of slice of life is very vibey, and it's not something that, well, I don't prefer slice of life particularly. The closest thing is Mushishi, but Mushishi also isn't slice of life. There is a mystery and a very low level light conflict to it.
Is that that thing you guys showed me where it's like an animation thing?
It's a manga and it's also an anime, but it's very slow paced. It's set in a very rural area, and it's naturey and slow, but the story is about these like invisible amoeba creatures, like nature spirits basically, that cause problems, and this guy going around solving everybody's problems with them. So it's more mystery and twist based, and is very calm, but there's still a problem. Something is happening, right? And I don't think I can go more nothing is happening than that, but there's an audience for slice of life. It's not us.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was mistaken. I don't think I've seen that at all.
No, it is actually really good. I recommend it.
Non-physical stuff happening, relationships, dynamics, spiritual. Rushbrook, what's up, Michael? Says Phil, would you read a slice of life version of Trigun? No, I'm a part of a couple of Trigun like fan groups on Facebook, and they like make fan comics and of course fan art, and one of them did like actually printed and bound like these like fan letter art things. I don't know, but a lot of them are like, oh, Vash is in a romance with Wolfwood, because everybody loves imagining their male characters as being gay for each other. So probably not, unless it was just like Wolfwood being a badass priest or something. I don't know.
Yeah, slice of life is definitely low. It's not even relationship conflicts. It's not people just sitting around talking about their feelings either. That's bad slice of life. It's small twists and the intrigue of human interaction, I would say. It's definitely kind of a girl genre. Just gonna say it. I think that's one of those things you're not allowed to say, but it's true.
Yeah,
it can be done well. It can be interesting. It's just not everybody's preference.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm already living life. All right. Give me a slice of something more. What I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't need another. You already got the whole pie.
Yeah. I don't need a
I
You don't need
don't
another
want
slice.
to read more about daily life, but some people like reading that, and they don't want to read conflict.
I need a slice of whatever Wolverine's cutting up, you know?
Hmm.
Slice and dice. Slice and dice comics. That's what I like. Slice and dice. That's a Frank Millerism from Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, I think the slice of life stuff is it's trying to make some of the smallest things feel as big as possible. Some people, but that some people can use certain things like that as a crutch. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's just one of these. I don't. It doesn't need to be exciting.
The thing with the separation between good slice of life and coming from someone that doesn't really enjoy the genre, I still recognize it can be done well. And like the difference between that and people like some American comics where characters are just sitting around a coffee shop talking about their feelings is it. I think there's a genuineness to good slice of life where there's the characters are still well designed and you believe in the conflicts and they're not actually still as in the interpersonal conflicts and they're not sitting around talking about their feelings. It's actually stuff happening. It's just not punching each other.
Yeah. Slice of life. Sometimes you could take like a slice of life concept and then make it like a murder mystery or something like that.
They could, yeah. I guess that you have some mystery stories and crime stories don't need to be actiony, but they can be. That's why I like Mushishi because it's mystery, and you don't need blood for it to be interesting. Who is it who just said they're burnt out on high concept stories?
High school stories.
Oh, high school stories. I thought high concept.
Archie. So IS is Archie slice of life.
Oh no, he did say high concept. Sorry, stupid.
Did you say high?
That's
concept?
interesting.
Oh, yeah, high concept. Sometimes Archie mystery. Yeah, I never read Archie.
Yeah, that makes me. I think of Archie as like slice of life, but then I think it also has murder and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like an early 1980s teen cartoon slice of life, like the Pussycat Dolls, right? That was a cartoon. Or like Gem and the Holograms, where they were like secretly a band or some shit. I don't know. Is Jay Ryan in here? He would know more. Archie's comedy.
Seinfeld and Friends.
So Seinfeld would seemingly be slice of life, but if you look at their episodes, a lot of them are like they're like thrillers in a weird way sometimes. Like
Josie and the Pussycats, not the Pussycat Dolls. That's a totally different.
There's the one where Jerry thinks like the butler guy stole his grandma's like candle holder thing. Then he sees it in the girl's apartment, and then him and George hatch a plan to like get in there and steal it back. Like it's like a heist.
Here, share my screen, Pear. I got some of the top slice of life comics to show off here. There you go. Wash Day Diaries.
Yeah, these don't sound as good as
I feel like I've seen this adulthood one though.
Oh, it's fun. It's comedic.
Yeah.
Milk and Mocha. Let's see. Heartstoppers. There's some manga. Azuki-chan. What is it?
Oh, wasn't that the big titty girl?
Yeah, that's the one where each volume of the manga has embossed covers that make the boobs bigger. And everyone's like, why should I have big boobs? Not good. And then they really leaned into it.
Good.
Characters have large breasticulatas.
Miss Tobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Shadow Life.
Isn't that one just they're these girls who are also they're like dragon humans, but they're living in modern Japan and it's just completely played straight. They're just going around their daily lives as these dragon girls.
Yeah, is slice of life synonymous with just day in the life of.
It kind of is.
Astro
It's like the
City.
mundanity, the interesting mundanity of daily life.
Because like there's like that way of the house husband thing where he's like an ex-assassin and now he's trying to be like a house husband. I'm trying to think, how do you make it fun? Like you could have the day in the life of the getaway driver who's getting booked for to get people away from their heists or murders and stuff, or maybe you could do a slice of life from the Mike from Breaking Bad. Just do a slice in the life comic of that kind of guy, and you can take the ridiculous and explore the mundanities of it, but that it would still have intrigue. Like you still have to have intrigue no matter what. I think when people are like, "What is slice of life?" they just forget that it's still going to have its own brand of intrigue. But it just focuses in on a different kind of intrigue.
Oh, she does have big boobs.
It's a good point. Most slice of life stories
have big boobs.
The characters
really?
themselves start out interesting in some way.
Yeah, they got to
it's
be
like,
interesting.
oh,
enough
for
that you'd
example,
wanna-
this. Right, it's the mundanity of the daily life of an ex-assassin or a dragon girl or I don't know, someone who is a wizard but living in modern Tokyo.
Yeah, there's a detective movie from the 70s called The Hard Goodbye that's like that because it's actually a Philip Marlowe story, so it's like one of those famous pulp novels.
Is that
But
The Long Goodbye?
Yeah, The Long Goodbye.
The
And
Hard
that
Goodbye
one-
is the Frank Miller Sin City story.
Oh yeah. No, I think the original Long Goodbye is Philip Marlowe. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it starts and his cat is out of food, so he has to go to the store to get food for his cat, but they don't have the brand that he normally gets. So then he comes home and he tries to convince his cat to eat the other food, and it doesn't want it. And then it's like 20 minutes of like a murder mystery movie, and 20 minutes is just him trying to feed his cat. And it's like not for everyone, but I love it. I think it's amazing. And that's what that movie's all about. It's like that movie is we've talked about it before. It's a Shaggy Dog story.
Elliot Gould.
Yeah, Elliot Gould.
Arnold?
Arnold. I think he is. You're right. Matt Cosson, you're right. He's like a heavy. He's like a background strong guy.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Is Spy Family slice of life? I'm sure there's action, but Cranberry Landry says partial slice of life.
Yeah. Sounds like, I think I like slice of life based on what people are saying. Phil, I disagree with you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hate it.
Yeah. What about if you guys could write any IP, what would you do? Like if Dark Horse owned it and they called you.
I would love to make good Red Dwarf comics.
See, that would be
They
awesome.
tried to do some way back in the day. They had Red Dwarf comics. Like, so Rimmer, the hologram, if anyone knows it, originally was supposed to be black and white so that he would look like a projection, and they couldn't afford to do that in the TV show because it was too much of a special effect. But there were old school Red Dwarf comics where Rimmer in that was black and white. But yeah, it would be fun. It was something that isn't gonna get stories out of it because it's so hard. It's because Red Dwarf's relatively indie now.
Yeah,
I
I mean
don't know.
that almost feels like that you could do that almost. Like call them up. Call them up, see what they say.
Just do it and don't ask them. Let's publish it anyway. Just
We could do
they'll
that
be like,
now.
wow,
Can you
this
do
is
that?
great. Say again.
We could do that now.
Yeah, you can we just publish it in as a doujin in Japan, and then we can avoid all of the copyright laws. It's great.
Well, yeah, you just can't sell it over here, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, like doing a proper graphic novelization of the original Jurassic Park would be great.
The book?
Yeah, the book is so different to the film. Mentioned it before. Like it would make a great comic series. The actual novels of Jurassic Park that isn't the film. There's a lot of intrigue. Like so much more stuff happens.
But at the end, you're like, Oh, it's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So people already know that.
I would hire
Oh, they're
Jake
gonna get off
to-
the island. I don't care. Like,
I would
Yeah, maybe
hire-
you could do it where they all die and it's not dinosaurs.
oh, okay. What would you do if you could take something and adapt it where you're gonna change it even that much? Just change the Jurassic Park so they never get off the island and they all die or something.
I want to do Die Hard, but he finds a hang glider on the roof and hang glides off and then calls his wife and he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to solve it. Anytime now, babe. I'll get it solved. The cops are on it, don't worry." He's just watching.
It could be fun because everyone's like, "Oh, what?" The current one is Lilo and Stitch. They did live action version and they made Nanny into a piece of shit that ditches her family to go live in California. But imagine doing the fun extreme version of that, taking something people know, and it's pretty on the ball. It's pretty the same as the original up to a certain point. Then it takes a complete left turn, and you don't even say that that's what it's gonna be. Like, yeah, Camel's saying fly hard. Yeah, you make Die Hard, but make it fly hard. Maybe halfway through it completely changes, and there's a whole other adventure that takes place.
Yeah. Well, that's like what Tarantino did with From Dusk Till Dawn. It's kind of like that.
He does that with history. Like, even like there wasn't a giant cinema that burned Hitler to death, but Inglourious Bastards, you get to do that. He does old history in that way. He takes a huge left turn.
Yeah.
I would hire Jake to draw a tripping the Rift comic.
I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Oh yeah.
What's Tripping the Rift?
It was a CGI TV show. I can't believe you guys don't know what it is. It's a cartoon.
That's cool. You guys are doing obscure deep cuts that sound like realistic, like you could. And then they'd get 0 sales. And then
Yeah.
Nobody's reading your Red Dwarf comic, Jake. That actually would be cool.
No one would. It would be so just for me. I'd be the only person to read it. No, I'd have no audience.
I would love to write or just create a Warriors comic, which I'm sure probably already happened. The Warriors.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Is very much comic-y, the film. Or a sequel or a follow-up to Demolition Man, which is a really great film.
That would be
an idea
fun.
What would you do? What would you do with that though? Is that him adapting to the world, or they unfreeze someone else? Because that film very much is its ending, right?
Right. I would do it where it's like a few decades later, the world's relatively back to normal. It's not like a utilitarian. Is that the right word? No, it's
authoritarian.
Yeah, it's like what's it like when everything's great? Like a authoritarian utopia.
Yeah.
Where it's like coming back down. Maybe John Spartan is like the police commissioner now or something, but he's old, and some crazy guy cloned Simon Phoenix. So he's young Simon Phoenix, a clone of him, and he has to old John Spartan has to take him on. I think that would be cool. Dystopian? Utopia. Isn't it utopian though?
Utopia.
Yeah, but utopia, people get it wrong. It means no-topia. It means it's impossible to actually make. When people say I have this utopian idea, it's like saying I have an idea that's so cool, never exists.
But is it dystopian like Mad Max?
Yeah. Or I don't know.
Utopia. That's
I like that though, Phil. That's good.
Yeah,
Jake. Jake, if you could do just a spaceship with a funny crew, like Red Dwarf, but just you do it. I think that would actually be pretty good. That'd be fun.
That could be. Okay, one thing I would want to do. The Munch Bunch, like Lunch Bunch style characters. I would like to do something very edgy, just with fruit characters that are supposed to live in this like happy little world, but there's the dark underbelly. That would be fun. Oh shit, Thomas the Tank Engine doing stop motion adult.
That's not a comic.
Oh yeah, some Thomas.
Oh yeah.
Meh. Jolly says a sequel to Arrival. The only problem with that is they already arrived. So then
call it
how can you arrive
Departure.
again? Yeah, I guess stick around,
I also
wear
have an
out your
idea
welcome.
for-
That's the sequel is called Wearing Out the Welcome. Something like
I would do train spotting, but they actually hunt down like different trains.
that. There is a sequel to Train Spotting. It's called Porno. It's a book. It might have got made into a movie. It might
I
have
think
something
there's a
to do
lot
with
of
porno.
movies in that genre,
Yeah.
or short films.
I have an old DC idea that I'd do if I could.
Has anyone tried to do a cinematic universe for porn? And I mean, like, because everyone does their own, there's always little recurring people that are in little series.
What?
You know what I'm talking about. Imagine if they did universe crossovers for
Aren't you the
porn.
same pool boy that was the construction worker in this one?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be such a mind fuck? Like,
How did he go from being a construction worker and now he's cleaning pools? That's like a huge cut in pay. Man,
Yeah.
I wonder if this guy's okay.
the same pool guy in every film.
Yeah.
Look, Jolly
he's-
St. Jake is a visionary. Yeah, we need the cinematic universe.
He's becoming like self-aware, the pool guy.
Yeah. What about you, Pear? What franchise would you work on?
I don't know. Well, I'll think about it. But I was speaking of pools. There's a movie called The Swimmer. Have you guys heard of this?
Is that with Sam
Everyone's
Elliott?
talking about it. It stars like Burt Lancaster from 1968, old movie. And you read what they describe, the description. It says like a man decides he's going to swim across town, but only swimming in his affluent friends' pools to get across town. So he goes from pool to pool, hopping fences. He's going to get
That
across
sounds
town.
like a slice of life comic that I don't want to read.
Yeah, see, it sounds terrible, but everyone says it's amazing, and apparently they say it's very psychological. I think, and I think it's like the guy maybe he like thinks he's God or whatever. He's like,
Ooh, yeah, who's
super-
everybody? I've never heard anyone talk about this.
dude? Everyone's talking about it. Come on, can't believe you haven't seen it. People talk about it. Oh, Bemis, is it good? Is it good, Bemis?
Man.
But I kind of would like to do like maybe Planet of the Apes, maybe Alien, maybe Mad Max. There's a few I'm like maybes on. I like maybe Resident Evil. The thing is, Resident Evil is sort of my favorite, but it's kind of hard. Like I don't have any ideas. I'm just not like if I ever got to do Resident Evil, I know exactly what I'd do. It's like I have no idea what I'd do. Oh,
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we may enjoy, it's probably because we couldn't recreate it. Like it's kind of away from you. You know what I mean? I don't think I could do a good Simpsons or Futurama episode if I tried. Although nowadays, probably do.
Yeah. It's funny, Jake, I didn't tell you this. Did I tell you this? I met the guy that wrote that Lobo story that you hated.
I don't. Oh no! Did you say? You say my friend Drake says nothing happened in this fucking comic.
I didn't, but
No.
I met him at C2E2, and it was. I'll have to tell you off air. It was
Okay.
the
You go, audience.
antithesis of what I would have expected and wanted to happen as meeting a creator.
Okay.
Alex
awesome.
VRB, he says, I was tired, so some of this was wonky. He's still using tired in the way that someone who's been at war killing people for so long. He's like, I'm so tired. Tired of all this killing.
He's still searching for his Valhalla.
I'm tired. Yeah, he's like Rorschach. Or no, who is it? He's like Martian Manhunter, right?
Yeah.
Tired of these memes, these people and their
Yeah.
memes.
He's just tired. I don't see it yet, Alex. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I think I found it. Oh, yes. Sweet. Okay, let me download it.
Ooh. Pear, you should go out and get the Spider-Man comic.
What's the
just
Spider-Man?
The one that Carrie Andrews did.
Oh, yeah. I think I... Wait, is it the crossover with X-Men or a different one?
Spider-Man Wolverine.
Yeah, nice.
It's awesome. I spoiled it on my show last week.
Did he write it too, or did he write and draw it, or what did he do?
No, he's just the artist. He
okay.
Mr. Guggenheim wrote it. I think his name
Oh,
is
old Guggenheim, eh?
Mark Guggenheim wrote it. It's awesome.
Once your mark. Okay. You guys ready for this? We lost Irene again. Wait, is this her?
Ooh, look at. Hey, she's back.
This is the one that's always been up, and it's.
Why am I so
Okay.
short?
All right.
What
here's
is
the-
this? What is
Oh my
this
God, this is
opposite world where
awesome.
I'm a giant?
Whoa,
It's
look
the
at that
Netflix
Magic Cop cover.
adaptation.
Magic Cop 2 cover back there. It looks fucking awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
I look like some Lady Gaga version. Like if Lady Gaga was Asian, what the hell's going on?
Oh yeah,
That's
no,
These are
hilarious.
on Netflix. This is if our comics were simply Netflix pitches and they all got made.
I love it.
Ah,
How did you do that? Man, all the logos are good. Look at
at
Look at
Arnold.
Vatican City. That's
oh
awesome.
my god, that's
AI.
great.
Vatican City
Oh my
looks like a
God.
freaking show on like USA Network. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
This is so cool, dude.
That's so
The-
funny.
the-
That uncanny AI version of our stuff.
Yeah, the
What is-
Carnival
what's
Barbarian
real?
looks like there's some Dune worms skating around the whole world, knocking everyone over. Look
Yeah,
at the guy. Okay, the guy at the bottom right of the Carnival poster is fucking great. I need
That's
that
pretty
high
good.
res. He's great. Look at that.
That's psychological.
Yes, you feel his complete distress.
this
Yeah.
What is
AI,
that?
that like O'Hara's shirt actually having the palm trees on it. Grey Wolf. It's hilarious. He looks like my dog.
This AI model is a champ.
Look at that guy.
And this is like a drawing, right? I feel like this is just a converted drawing. 'Cause-
All of them, yeah, all of those
Yeah.
covers are pieces
Yeah.
of art.
Yeah,
That's
the
the
director's
Japanese
like,
one.
stop looking at the camera, Casimir.
What's
That's
he
a-
holding here? What's his hand?
I think it's your ivermectin pill.
Yeah. It kind of looks like Jake's hand. It's
Yeah,
got
what were you
AIDS.
holding up? That's someone's hand, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
gotta be one of us. That does look like one of my fat hands.
There's no pus coming out of that finger, so it's not your left hand.
Irene's got two
Yeah.
different colored eyes.
Oh,
She's
just like
the
real life.
anime one.
Okay, Irene, are you here? Can you read your dialogue? Check 1 2.
Or she's muted.
Irene, you're muted.
Is that a tooth? That is a tooth. Oh, that's Irene's tooth from last week.
Oh, is she held up
Right.
her arm? He said it was my hand. The other hand is Jake. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Jake's tooth.
Oh, there's some at
someone's
the
gonna have to
bottom.
do an impression.
At that
Hold on.
point, he knew it was happening, so he ended his world and then started the story from there. Napoleon spoke a parte. Sweet. I don't want to get pigeonholed as an artist. Wait, that was your weak time, so you're done. I just draw them as puppets inexplicably. In a comic, you don't have to do that, but I like doing it anyway. Phil,
always
want to do
been
yours?
fun. Yeah. I didn't want to make Jake angry, but I'm just going to say you don't have to do a meme this week. I didn't know where I was going and I just started over. I was like, what the what? That's where I'm going with my new stuff.
Jake, what about you?
Grock's been giving me bad answers. It was giving me advice on my AIDS finger. It was just a sweat rash. Look at all those blacks. I've got a tower of blacks now. Has anyone tried to do a cinematic universe for porn? I'm telling you, people would freak out. You just watching stuff and you see they always have little corrals of actors that do repeat video. You know, back when I used to watch that kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the past.
Here, this is a sweat bead. You have a little anime sweat bead up here because of you're afraid you're going to get canceled because of what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Of the
It's your Black Tower.
Tower of Black.
Black
Irene-
Tower is a good name for that kind of movies you were talking about, Jake.
You know, in
Oh, yeah.
Japan, they called the dark humor black humor. It's not called dark. It's like that's the word they use. They call it black humor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've heard that. The Black Tower. It's a great
Brock is
good
holding
theory.
chalk. Chalk talk.
Oh,
Irene, are you there?
he's back.
Can you hear me?
We heard someone flush a toilet just now.
Sounds
Who
like
was
you're in the
it?
the
bathroom.
toilet.
Well, it wasn't me.
It's really echoey. It's like an echoey bathroom.
It's perfect though for
Yeah, I'm on my phone now, so the audio is probably not great.
Cool. Can you read yours?
My
What is yours?
apologies. Oh, yes. Yes, I agree with everything everyone said. It's like a whole Pokemon ball box. Don't quote me because I'm not sure. I have a problem. I might be slightly autistic.
Nice.
Is that you doing an impression of you?
Wes
Sure.
Anderson.
Yeah, that's what I sound like.
cartoon character.
Cool.
Yes, that's cartoon me.
Amazing AI.
Yeah,
Crappy Netflix movie.
So what is Irene is in a black cape, Jake is the Flash or like a superhero. What is there reasons for our outfits?
Yeah, you kind of look like you're.
Did they
just
ever
like
make
that.
a female Flash called the Gash?
Yeah.
Guess not.
There is a
That's
female Flash.
that can be the porn in the porn universe you're going to build.
Yeah. Isn't Jessie Quick a female Flash family character? You getting that right?
Jake Quick. I'm definitely kind of like in my VR or AI.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I can see.
I'm really excited to see what the actual Netflix adaptation will look like.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, Alex went to the future and brought back the actual poster.
We gotta post these. They're so badass. Let me see. Jessie Quick. That's a character. Yeah. I knew it.
Cool. Well, I think I might end the stream here in a second. We want to do. Anyone have anything special to promote? How's your auction, Jake? It already ended, I think.
It ended, yeah. It was great. When you went away for a bit, I took the opportunity to talk about it. It sold. Whoever won it could reveal themselves in chat. I will not dox you without your permission. But yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I still haven't
you
got the
thanking them or me?
Kickstarter sign
You're
up
welcome.
page ready, so I can't even direct people to the carnal Kickstarter. But yeah, I have the cover in for the Kickstarter cover. It looks beautiful.
I saw
But
it.
I also realized, yeah, Phil's seen it. Did I send it to
awesome.
you?
Yeah. Last week.
Yes.
It's awesome.
I'm so excited. But I realized I actually have to draw more covers because seeing as there's a throbbing package available and that includes sketchy starts, because I don't want people that end up with two of the same thing, I'm like, I have to do a second sketchy starts cover. And I'm like, oh fuck, what do I do for that? So I gotta do that. And there was another cover I was working. Oh yeah, the Twin Snakes package cover too. Because there's gonna be insane people that buy both. Like the program package on both campaigns. And so I want to give them something special too. So like that's like a cover, there'll be like maybe even 5 of them. I don't know. 2, 5. But yeah, I've been drawing that as well. But it's so too many covers. It would never happen again. It's something you do on issue 1 because it's kind of like the issue 1. You do a bunch of stuff and then you kind of like pull it back in the future. In the future, there'll probably only be like 3. But yeah. I'm having a lot of fun.
It's good.
The cover I'm working on has a new gimmick. We have the wraparounds. We had the Ouroboros cover. But yeah, I will not reveal the gimmick. I have thought of another gimmick for the cover.
This is gonna be the summer of Carnal.
Yeah, like I'm really hoping to start fulfillment in Cocktober. But yeah, I realized that to get the campaign ready, I've got to do so much drawing. Like I've been coloring pages and loving it, but I can't just sit and color anymore because now I've got to draw trading cards, and a lot of trading cards. I want to get as many of the trading cards finished.
And we got Heroes Con coming up, which we'll all be at.
Oh God. Non-stop work and travel and cons.
BeersCon's coming up.
I've been
Less than a
it's
month.
coming up.
Let's see.
Be there in Charlotte. It's the 20th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yes. Hopefully, man, it's just been I've been slightly irritated because
3 weeks.
I haven't really been able. I know, fuck my life. To draw and just sit, be in the zone. I was able to get a lot of writing and thumbnailing done, which is good. But then it's like, fuck, I need to get pages done because I wanted to get stuff done before the campaign for 3 launched. But yeah, Heroes Con will be good. And after that, maybe I can finally just sit down and draw pages and concentrate. We'll be at that show and we're gonna do the stamp rally thing, maybe. Still,
Mhm.
Yeah, I would love to. We could print whatever.
yeah,
Awesome. Print.
yeah. I want to get on that and start making flyers.
Stickers. We could talk about it, but yeah, we should do that sooner especially if we're gonna have someone else make like special stickers or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the next couple weeks we should start focusing on that. I'm gonna start making flyers for Fiendish, Heroes Con flyers for Fiendish. So if we want to get those printed, we should do it this next week.
Mhm.
Yeah, and 3 weeks we got people. 3 weeks.
Shit. Shit.
Time is going
Really?
by so quick.
Three weeks?
The last month just disappeared.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah, I was gonna have I was supposed to have these people books in this week, but I just got an email today that they're pushed back till Monday. So these are gonna be shipping to us on Monday. We'll have them at the cons. Yeah, it's first time this story is gonna be printed at a full comic size. It's gonna be awesome. So new stuff for the summer. Gonna be good.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Jolly says, "Did you guys get old tables by each other or spread out?" I think it will be like a scavenger hunt. I don't know if we're next to each other. We don't even know where we are in the room, right? They haven't given us
Not yet.
tables.
Yeah, they haven't sent anything out yet, but I asked to be near Irene. And then I don't think Pear's probably not going to be in our section, but who knows where they're going to put us.
Yeah, I put down a list of people I'd like to be next to, and I think I put down you, Phil, but I don't know if I put down like your name or Zaid Comics and if they'll recognize it.
Yeah.
Pear is gonna. I didn't know who Pear was gonna be tabling with, so we're gonna be a little spread out. It'll be a bit of a hunt, but it'll.
Yeah.
But
before I
that's
forget,
the point of it too. Go on, Aaron.
sorry, go ahead. I was gonna change the subject. I was just gonna mention I want to do another auction next week, so stay tuned for that.
Nice.
Yep, I have
Cool.
more art lying around. I did another magic piece. So if you guys missed out on my last eBay auction, there's going to be another one. And I have, what's the other one? It's I'm doing I have fallen. I am drawing superheroes again, but hey, listen, people like it, and I like turning off my brain and drawing cute girls sometimes. So I have a, should I say it? I'll just say it. I have a Spider-Gwen and I have a Magic. I do not, I'm just gonna do that.
All about the magic.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, she's
Sweet.
cool.
Sweet. Okay. Sounds good, everyone. My campaign for Brendan is open for another 5 days, so pick those up if you haven't yet. Disintegration Street. Everyone keep an eye out. Cool. That's all I got. All right, I might end it. Is everyone cool? Let's do it.
Oh yeah, hold on. Alex brought up something in chat. Yes, I'm just so bad at promotion. The Japanese editions for Fiendish are up on the store. You can buy those. You can pre-order those. I'll ship those as soon as I can.
Cool.
Nice.
It's in like a couple weeks, but yeah.
With beautifully
go, that's all.
colored covers. Just amazing
Yes.
colors on the covers of those 3 books.
Wonderful colors.
Yeah. This is my tagline: to click the button. You guys ready?
All right, bye.
Bye.
I clicked it. I clicked it.
See y'all.